And the base is dropped on a new edition of Soccer Down Here. It's a Monday morning after an Atlanta United win in Washington, D.C., a big one over D.C. United. Lots of things to get into from that. Strong performances from quite a few different individuals. A bizarre sequence with a substitution that has never been seen in Major League Soccer or really anywhere outside of a U12 match in a long time. We got a transfer window to talk about with stories changing every other minute, it seems like. Lots of stuff to get into today. You want to be part of it? Tweet at us, at Soccer Down Here. Join us on the Twitch pitch, twitch.tv/soccerdownhere. You can send us an email, soccerdownhere@gmail as well. All of those are ways to get to us here on the show. Let's get caught up really quickly on kind of where things stand right now, because this is going to be a fluid situation the rest of the day, on some big potential transfers in Europe. The one that has changed the most in the last hour and a half is Thomas Partey to Arsenal. At 7:50, Charles Watts of Goal.com said that Arsenal had made a move, story to follow. At 8:03, Fabrizio Romano said Atletico Madrid had not received any attempt or bid from Arsenal for Partey. Atleti were still convinced he was going to stay. There were no negotiations going on. And then at 8:35, Antonio Ruiz of Cadena COPE in Spain said that Arsenal had communicated to La Liga the intention to pay the release clause for Partey, which is £45 million, reportedly. So that one could go a bunch of different directions. You've got Edinson Cavani, according to Romano, signing his paperwork early this morning, will be a Manchester United player until June of 2022. Ed Woodward is running through the aisles at TJ Maxx right now, trying to find whatever he can to boost his squad. Just saying, normally a director of football might actually have a plan. They don't wait until the results aren't good and then go get a bunch of guys that you can find who are in the checkout aisle. All that stuff that's like shiny and flashing and up at the checkout aisle when you go out, all those impulse purchases, that's what Manchester United does. And then they get confused why they can't get results that they want. I don't know why. Chris Smalling might not be going to Roma now. Ousmane Dembele, who knows? Depending on who you talk to, and this is another one where you've got reporters saying two different things. According to RMC Sport, Mohamed Bouafsi, he is not going anywhere. He's going to be a Barcelona player of the season. Duncan Castles, a few minutes later, reporting that the player has agreed to join Manchester United and that Barcelona is currently negotiating. Well, when you look at the Barcelona side, they need a fee. They need money. They don't want a loan. They need cash from Manchester United. Manchester United wants a loan here. Well, why do they need money? Reports came out today on their financials. The AFP news agency's Tom Allnut reported that Barcelona announced a €203 million reduction in revenue due to the effects of the pandemic. The club expects another €64 million drop this year. €97 million losses are caused by the effects of COVID-19, and the debt is now up to €820 million. Why do they need cash? That's why they need cash. They also need cash to go get players. They have agreements with Eric Garcia, with Memphis Depay. They do not have agreements with their clubs, and you're running out of time. That's where Barcelona is. That's where Manchester United is. Federico Chiesa, medicals are ongoing for him to join Juve, loan with an obligation to buy. It's a €50 million obligation. Medicals also ongoing for Douglas Costa to leave Juve, go to Bayern. Fiorentina replacing Chiesa with Jose Callejon. That's a done deal. That's kind of where the big ones stand right now. I mean, will Ed Woodward throw another bucket of something at Borussia Dortmund to try to get Jadon Sancho to come? Probably, because that seems to be his strategy. If he doesn't, will he throw cash at Barcelona to get Ousmane Dembele on a regular basis? Yeah, you might want to pour over those injury history reports as much as possible because this is a guy who's played just over 50 matches since 2017. There's going to be more moves to go. We'll kind of recap everything tonight on Soccer Over There. There's going to be a lot of different ways you can follow what's going on. John, you've got Sky Sports News on Peacock right now.
That I do.
They're streaming that all day, I'm assuming?
All day.
Okay, and then NBC Sports Network is coming on at 4, I believe?
4 for 2 hours, yeah.
Okay, and the window in England, there was some confusion on this. They said it yesterday that the window in England was closing at 6 p.m. our time.
Yeah, and doing the math, let's see. So 9 and 9 is 18. So, yeah, 6 o'clock our time.
Is that midnight their time?
And
is that 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
Okay. Well, it's closing at 6 p.m. our time. I don't know the rest of the windows in Europe, but right around then, some of the ones to the east might be an hour earlier or so. So we'll keep you posted on all that as we go this morning. We'll kind of check in periodically on what the latest conversation is about some of these different moves. We'll recap everything on Soccer Over There tonight, and we're set to start at 7 o'clock there. I believe NBC Sports Network is staying on until 7 to kind of recap everything. So and that'll be from an English perspective. There will be plenty of other things going on. Fiorentina working on getting the deal finalized for Martinez Cuarta, the center back at River Plate. That's another move that people are keeping an eye on. You also have players heading to their national teams right now. The Argentines are all headed to South America to get ready for World Cup qualifiers. You have some players who have not been able to go join their national team as of yet, as things are a little different due to coronavirus testing. It's all kinds of complicated right now, and we'll keep you posted on everything going on in that world as best as we can. J.W. Parker says, sounds like it's going to be silly season for a day. It will be across a lot of things. We've got a lot to talk about on the MLS front where there's not a lot that we're kind of waiting to see from a transfer perspective today. I think Brendan Aronson to Salzburg is one we're waiting to see what the final terms are if we get that announcement. That's one. I know there's a lot of people trying to make a story about Ezequiel Barco, and there has not been an update from anybody in Europe or anybody in Argentina about a Barco imminent move. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's not there. Haven't heard of any others leaving MLS to join clubs. Have not heard of anything else that is imminent yet. Mark McKenzie would be another one that has been running hot and cold. Haven't seen something saying that he is leaving right now. It had been talked about earlier in the window. We'll see. That's the MLS side of the outgoing. Because remember, MLS's window is going to be open until October 29th. You can add players for MLS from other clubs until the 29th. So leaving MLS, windows that are now going to be closed by the end of the day today, they won't be bringing MLS players in until their next window opens. The window is always tied to what you can bring in your window. You can still have players leave, but as we've said many times, for MLS club shopping, it's harder to buy somebody after the other window is closed because they can't replace that player. You'd have to be buying somebody who is completely out of favor, not playing, what have you. So there could be some MLS complications from this as well. We'll keep you posted on that with any of the MLS moves that could be happening today. But lots of transfer window stuff. That's not all we're going to talk about. We'll recap all that on Soccer Over There tonight. There's a game to talk about from the weekend, and it was Atlanta 4-0 winners over D.C. United. I'm sure there are a lot of reactions over, under, and on par. Why don't we get into that right now?
Okay, so this one is a majority question. And
a majority question?
It's popped up more than once. It seems to be the leader in the clubhouse, the one that folks have asked for the most.
Got it.
But I'm going to give Jason Heinley's version of it because I'm included in this as well. Jason Heinley says, awesome to see that many goals. Can't wait to hear at Longshoe rail against Pro and MLS for poor handling of the illegal sub from D.C.
I mean, a lot of people have got elements of this wrong, and I want to at least try to get what I know the facts to be true, and we're not going to get all the facts until statements are made from MLS and from Pro, and they're going to have to be made. First off, this cannot happen. This can't happen. This is seriously like badly organized youth team action. Team parents do a better job of organizing their team than this. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment for this to happen in a Division I professional match in this country. It's an embarrassment for the team to allow it to happen, and that's DC United. It's an embarrassment for the referees to allow it to happen, and that's on Pro. People have crushed MLS. That's a little different here. You're not crushing MLS. Now, look, here's the thing. Typically, someone from the team, and more often than not, it's not the manager filling out the lineup card by hand, writing it in. It's an assistant. It's a team administrator, et cetera, et cetera. Normally, it's filled out on a piece of paper. It's handed to the referee crew, and then you move forward. Well, you're not handing pieces of paper over right now. So it is submitted a little differently. But it was submitted. Now, I don't typically check it because when I'm doing my notes ahead of the game, I'm working on my notes as the lineups come out. I'm checking the Opta website that we have access to. I'm checking, other sites, SofaScore or Who Scored to pull in some additional stats if I want to note something. So I'm doing that before a game. Mike checks the printout that comes from the league for the lineup sheet with both teams. That sheet did not have Russell Canals on it. Opta's website and any other source that was pulling from Opta had Russell Canals on it. So at halftime, first before the game, Mike had mentioned that they had 3 goalkeepers on the bench, or 3 goalkeepers active for the game, 2 on the bench, which is not typical, but DC's had a bunch of injuries. Not a massive surprise right now. Just, you want to put somebody on the bench, put somebody on the bench. Okay, throw an extra goalkeeper there, fine. Halftime, Charlie Boehm, who writes for MLSsoccer.com, tweeted out that Julian Gressel, Russell Canals were warming up, looking likely to come into the match. I showed Mike the tweet, not thinking anything about it, just getting into the conversation about, okay, these are the changes they could make. Mike's like, Canals isn't on the lineup. I'm like, well, he is right here, pointing to the Opta website. And Mike's like, no, he's not right here, pulling out the sheet of paper. I'm like, well, maybe they made a change. Maybe they changed before kickoff, which you can do. If somebody gets injured in a warm-up, for example, you can remove them. You can add somebody. Like maybe they made a change. Maybe there's a mistake somewhere along the way. What have you. Didn't think anything else of it because, again, this doesn't happen. Like, we shouldn't be thinking, man, did DC United mess up their lineup submission and now they're going to sub somebody in who's not on the sheet? That's the last thing you think about. That's like thinking about the things that don't happen. So you don't do that. You don't have time for that. So sub happens. About 2+ minutes in to Russell Canals being on the field, we see somebody come out, assuming it's probably the 4th official. We see a lot of confusion. We don't have the natural sound coming in to where we are broadcasting the game. We just have the pictures. So we're trying to figure this out on the fly. That brought us back to the whole idea about, is Canals on the lineup? Is he not on the lineup? What, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there are 2 massive errors here that have to be punished. There's no, because this can't happen. Why can't this happen? I'll tell you why this can't happen. What if in those 2 minutes Russell Canals scores a goal? There's no way to fix it if that happens. What if Russell Canals gets a red card? There's no way to fix it. What if he goes in 2-footed and breaks somebody's leg? There's no way to fix these things. Luckily, he didn't do anything. And the league was able to fix it by allowing them to bring on somebody else. Now, that did affect DC's plans, and Ben Olsen talked about it afterwards. Julian Gressel was going to play on the right. Canals came in for Moses Nyman to play as a central midfielder. When they had to make the moves, he said he wouldn't have pulled Nyman if he had known that Canals wasn't available. They had to play Gressel centrally. And we've seen Gressel centrally. It's not as effective. He was not effective at all in the second half. They brought on Kevin Paredes in place, and he played out wide. So Ben Olsen didn't want to say who made the error. don't know who made the error, but somebody from DC United's organization obviously made a horrendous error. The reasons I said why this can't happen, that's why DC United has to be punished. The last time a team played an ineligible player in anything resembling this, which is not the same thing, because this has never happened to my knowledge in MLS. I don't know if this has happened in a Division I professional match in the United States. It's this rare, and it's this ridiculous. Dallas had Michael Barrios in the starting lineup for a match in 2017. They decided that he was not able to start during the warm-up session. So they made a change to their lineup. Barrios was removed from the starting lineup. Can't remember who they brought on in his place. Well, when that happens, after the lineup's been submitted and before kickoff, if you change a starter, they're out of the match. It's not a substitution, but they're out of the match. If somebody gets injured in the warm-up, for example, and you have to pull them, they're done for the day. Well, Dallas was confused and thought they could just switch the two, bring on a player in Barrios' place. Barrios would then be on the bench. He was brought on as a sub. He was an ineligible player. Dallas was fined $25,000 cash and $75,000 general allocation money. That's the precedent we're looking at here. That's what the fine should be for DC United. That part, it's a different situation, and it's much more of a, okay, they got a rule wrong in the way you can make a change to your lineup sheet. Still, wrong. Wrong. $100,000 fine in Monopoly money and in real money. That's your number here. That's what DC has to be looking at. Second part, the fourth official who let it happen. It's one of those kind of unforgivable mistakes because you can't let this happen. Because again, what if something had happened in the match involving Russell Canals as an ineligible player that you can't correct? Then what you would probably have to see is what was being discussed would be a forfeit. Because if he scores a goal, you can't take a goal off and just pretend it didn't happen. If he breaks somebody's leg, you can't pretend it didn't happen. Guy's got a broken leg. If he gets a red card, you can't pretend it didn't happen. So you can't let that happen if you're the fourth official. The referee is not the one to blame here because the referee's not managing the substitutions. He's not over there checking players' eligibility. Again, this shouldn't happen because it's on DC that they put an ineligible player into the match. But the fourth official also has to double check these things. And this is a great reminder for fourth officials. Hey, you better be careful about who's coming into the match. This is seriously like an error you see in your local Sunday league. This should not happen professionally because of all the different things that could spin off of it. The fourth official can't work in MLS again the rest of the season. Like, he can't. He can't work a professional match, if you want to be perfectly honest, because you can't do this. Because you could have potentially, by not paying attention, the fourth official could have had a game thrown out. And possibly you could have had a game that you would have had to stop then. What are all the things that spin off of that? TV time, advertising, content, all kinds of things, the competitive advantages, all of those. So that's why this is a big deal. And DC has to be fined severely for doing this. And the fourth official has to be punished severely for allowing it to happen. That's what has to come out of it. I know it seems like Pro is reluctant to admit mistakes whenever Atlanta United's involved. This time Atlanta United has nothing to do with it. But they have to admit this mistake because this cannot happen.
That was my number one question coming in, and yeah, trust me, a lot of folks wanted to know what you were thinking about that particular incident.
I mean, we're overblowing it a little bit in just the sense of, like, you don't know everything going on at the time. We didn't, because this never happens. Like, you're not used to seeing it. Shiva asked, what if DC had went on to win the game, what could Atlanta do about it? They would have got a forfeit. No question. Because the player played, and you can't, And I know people will, and you can't. You can't say, well, the player didn't do anything in this and that. This is why this can't happen, because what if the player did? It's not about, well, they just stood there for 2 minutes and then they were pulled out and you brought somebody else on. That, honestly, I don't know if there was another way to resolve it, but that's what it is. The other thing, too, that people need to understand, the referee can't declare a forfeit. That needs to be understood. The referee in that situation cannot declare a forfeit. And I've been on the touchline before, too, and I know there was conversation about it. As a coach, you want anything you can get out of it. And if Atlanta was able to get a win without playing another 45, sure, you want to take it because you got a crowded schedule. But the referee cannot declare a forfeit. A forfeit is declared by a league, by a competition committee. It's not declared by a referee. The referee can't walk from the match. So the referee, Joseph Dickerson, had nothing else to do here. That's why he's on the phone to try to find a way out of it. But if DC had won the match, it would have been ruled a forfeit 3-0 for Atlanta after the fact. No question. There's no other solution to it. You're not going to pursue a forfeit here, so the score should remain 4-0. I guess if MLS wanted to be sticklers, they could say that the game should be thrown out in a 3-0. I think Atlanta would argue rather strenuously that should not happen and they should not lose a goal out of it. But that's the result from using an ineligible player. The game's a forfeit.
Heath Bradley's in this morning. He says the win was good for confidence.
No, hold on. I got to correct something here because a lot of people are running with this, and I had people tweeting me at this about me, LB Fuber and others. No, MLS did not kill the match because of the TV implications. That is 100% incorrect. They can't kill the match in motion. The league can't call down and say stop playing. The league can declare a forfeit after the fact. The referee cannot declare a forfeit. The referee can't go to the league and say this should be a forfeit. That's not the referee's purview. So no, that did not have it. What I'm saying about the TV implications is why the fourth official has to be punished, why the team has to be punished. Because by doing all of this stuff, they're affecting the overall product. The referee can't declare a forfeit, and the league would not in that case, because they're going to have to do all the information, gather all the information and all that. They didn't just say, and this is not a cynical thing, they didn't say play it out because we want it to be on TV. You play it out because you play it out. Because now Atlanta would rather not have a forfeit. They'll take the extra goal difference because who knows? That could come to a big point here when you're talking about playoff seeding. You take 4-0 over 3-0 every day. So that's where it is. No, it's not a cynical thing where the league was worried about TV windows. I'm sorry, you're dealing with a regional window for Atlanta and you're dealing with a regional window for DC. That's not in the league's mind here. If it was a national game on Fox, if it was the Orlando Red Bulls game, maybe we're having a different conversation in that. But the league would not kill the game because of an ineligible player. They would rule it a forfeit later if they needed to, but they wouldn't kill it then. That's just not how it's not how it goes at a youth game, let alone at the game on TV.
Other folks with their over on par and under reactions starting back from the match. Heath Bradley says the win was good for confidence, but we need to move on and keep focused. DC United seems to be the new hashtag Orlando City.
DC's worse than Orlando ever was. It's Orlando's never screwed up a lineup card, first off. Orlando at times had players look completely disinterested, but not as much as I've seen from DC. I will say the choruses of "yeah, but" are a little absurd here. DC is not very good. You beat a not very good team. That's good. You did your job. And you did your job not just basic. You didn't win 1-0. You didn't win 2-0. You didn't score off of a set piece and off of a penalty. You scored good goals. You played well. You looked structured. Yes, against a bad team, but there are plenty of good things to take out of it. So you're looking for 3 points however you find them right now. This idea that, well, it's not a real win. Stop, y'all. Brooks Lennon played a real game, and he played really, really well. John Gallagher played really, really well. You had a lot of good performances that give you something to build on, and you need to build on. Does this win mean you beat Orlando on Wednesday? No, it doesn't mean anything other than you got 3 points and you looked good in doing it. That's a good thing to start from.
Since you mentioned Lennon, let me go there. Matt Haney talks about Lennon, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
The Assad tackle on Lennon late, that gets nastier the more that I watch it.
It should have been a red card. It should have been a red card. It's horrendous from Yamil Assad. There's no excuse for it. The disciplinary committee should be doing their job, and he should be suspended. Who knows if they will, because, again, I don't know when they decide to meet, when they decide not to meet, and what they decide to do and what they don't decide to do. But that's one. If you're allowing forearms/elbows thrown to people's mouths, and you're allowing a tackle like that when the ball is gone from behind, both situations where people can get hurt, if you're allowing those without punishment, you've got a problem as a league. So I would like to think that any Atlanta United fans who have been clamoring for Yamil to come back, that might change their opinion a little bit, because that's a horrendous tackle. And it's in a 4-0 game. I mean, it's not even like trying to send a message that's going to affect an outcome of a match. It's nothing. It's a cheap shot. It's a dirty play. It should have been a red card on the night. The VAR should have buzzed it down. I don't care if it's 4-0. I don't care if the game's all but over. None of those are excuses. It should have been a red card on the night, and Yamil Assad should be suspended going forward. Awful.
Matt Haney says Gallagher and Lennon were dynamic. Again, a great performance after a full week between games. Makes it seem the schedule compression has really weighed on them this year. Love the 4-0 scoreline.
It's a good performance. Gallagher looked confident. Lennon looked confident. I would like to think that some of the because I saw it in the comments of our AT&T countdown to kickoff before the match. Julian Gressel's going to make you pay. Julian Gressel did nothing in the game. He didn't even start, and he's not injured. Okay, he's not injured. He's losing favor in DC right now, and DC's terrible. Like I leave that to the side, because he's got his own issues to deal with in DC, who's a bad team, but he wanted a lot of money. And Atlanta United made a decision that it was too much, and they made a trade. And now the club that is paying him is not starting him. They're starting teenagers in place. And the guy that is the replacement and was questioned as such before the game went out and had a goal and 2 assists in the matchup. So can Brooks Lennon get some love? Brooks Lennon's been a far better player this season than what you've seen from Julian Gressel in DC. There's no way to spin it. There's no way to spin it. And you want to start comparing stats to previous years? Well, what would Lennon's numbers be if Joseph Martinez wasn't injured? I don't know. They'd be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine they'd be pretty good.
Yep.
So, yeah, he deserves some credit. John Gallagher deserves some credit. Moving back into more of an attacking role because the spot's open, and I've said it every game. I'll continue to say it until he proves otherwise. His performances are going to keep him on the field because he's just playing that well. He's dynamic. And both of those guys were keys in this match. You got good performances from a number of players, but those two were the ones who sparked it. Adam John had a miss in the first half. He redeemed himself with a good header in the second. This was a strong performance, but Lennon and Gallagher were really shining.
Georgia Soccer Forum says DC United would struggle in USL. The team is trash.
They're bad. They would not struggle in USL. That's probably watch a little more USL. No, they would not struggle in USL. They would win the USL championship, probably going away. And that's not a knock on USL teams. That's the difference between the first and the second division. But DC's the worst team in the league. Absolutely. So what, do we have to give a 1.5 back in the standings now? Is that the way we're going to play this? Okay. I mean, if you want to pick whatever narratives you want to make whatever storyline you want happen, that's fine. But you beat a bad team handily. That's what should happen. You did your jobs. It doesn't mean you're an MLS Cup contender right now. No, it doesn't. It means you won the night, it means you got 3 points in the standings. That's what it means. Nothing that can be said takes that away. That's what it is. We'll see if they build on it. This is the same conversation we've had about previous wins. Okay, good win. The game against Dallas, it's a better win because it's a better team. Sure, I'm fine with that. They both count 3 points, and it's how you build on it. Because now you got a bunch of games coming. Hopefully, you've built a little momentum. You've built a little confidence, and you got to go from that. Because if you go out and you play poorly against Orlando on Wednesday, you still don't get any points out of that one. You're trying to build here. If this is a spot where you start to build, good. That's what it needs to be. That's what it is. It's 3 points. It's a good win. You need to build on it.
Tony Maupin says, it's the first match I was not able to watch this year due to Sinclair Media, YouTube TV, and the blackout on ESPN+. And we won 4-0. 2020's alive and well.
Yeah, that's not good. Tony, I think that means you can't watch. But, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that whole thing's got to get sorted out. It's way above my pay grade as to what Sinclair and YouTube TV and other streaming services are doing with the regional Fox networks. It needs to get sorted out because it's a little ridiculous.
Shiva said no one predicted that score, did they?
No. I mean, you had to be reluctant to say Atlanta would score 4, right? Because they haven't created that many chances generally in games. They did this time, and they converted on them. So DC's a bad team. That's a fact. But you converted on your chances. You did what you needed to do against a bad team.
Let's see. Chris Kilroy loved every minute of it. I pity the fool. Says, gotta say, happy that Goose got to sit back there and watch the boys hang a 4 spot on USMNT teammate Bill Hamid.
Yeah, Bill Hamid's having a rough year. He can pull off some Superman matches at times, but there's only so much you can do with that team in front of him, and can't really think of anything that he's at fault on this one. It just is what it is. But yeah, Bill's had a lot to say in recent years, and that you might want to be a little careful with that right these days. I don't think he's playing badly, but you're giving up a bunch of goals because you have a bad team in front of you. The bravado doesn't look so good.
Patrick Delaney Fender says that was some smexy football.
See, it was good. Like, and this is the flip side, and this is, I'm not joining the yeah but crowd, but it was good. It was against a bad team that allowed you to do some things, but you did those things. I thought attacking from wide positions was going to be a key in this one. It was. It played out. You attacked wide. You punished DC out wide. They really didn't ever seem to figure that out, and you created chances from attacking with width. That's good. You played well. You looked good in doing it. These are all good things. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I'd go to some of the overly, like, this was an amazing performance, et cetera, et cetera. It was a good performance, and it's a good win. But it wasn't the cleanest. I mean, you didn't control possession in the first half. You did in the second. You had more giveaways than you'd like. The things that stood out to me really are the opposite of it was, sexy football. It had some grit to it. You committed more fouls than I believe you've ever committed in a match. You broke up play. You were a little nasty at times. That's good. You need to be able to do that. You need to be able to control games without possession, and they did that in the first half. For me, like, sexy football is having a lot of the ball and scoring a lot of goals based off having the ball. You scored a lot of goals without having the ball, which doesn't mean it's not good. It's just it's a little different. I think this team can play differently and play even more to what Patrick's saying. But this was a game that wasn't that. You can only play the team in front of you, and you can only do what that game gives you. And Atlanta did everything that this match gave them and more.
Our Sydney 17s are hoping it's a turning point in what's left of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, right? Is that this is a springboard, and we'll find out on Wednesday. The biggest thing that I've seen with this team has been confidence and a lack of confidence going into the attack. You get 4 goals, no matter how you get them, that's going to help you feel more confident. And we'll see how it plays out on Wednesday. If you see a team that looks more confident in the attack on Wednesday, you can point back to this game. And absolutely is some of the genesis of it.
Waffle House United with a couple of points on Adam John. Adam John with those pillow feet. Nice back heels. Great to see him involved in the game by other wingers. And it's nice to see him included more in the attack instead of excluded. He seems to be helping build up play immensely. Waffle House can remember a time when players would just pass around him. What do you think?
It's not excluded. That's trying to draw something from it that I don't think is fair. I don't think players looked up and said, "Oh, I'm not passing to him." It's not a kid's game. I think Adam John getting on the same page with his teammates was important because he was doing things differently based off his soccer experience where he's played. That wasn't what was expected from some of the players around, and they weren't on the same page. They are now, and having a little bit of extra training time probably helps with that. He's got good feet, and that's been a little bit of the frustration for me is that he could be more involved in the build-up play. He can help get you out of trouble in the middle third. He can help you get into better positions going into the final third to then create opportunities. Use him a little bit more in those kinds of roles, and they did here, and it opened the game up far more. So hopefully that will be something that we continue to see more and more of.
Goonie Goohoo, even with DC struggling this season, our performance was more solid and cohesive. A lot of quick one-touch passing and much quicker counters. It's just one game, but hanging a 4 on DC is what we should have done and will build belief and confidence.
Yeah, the last part's the important one. I mean, you know, if it had been a 1-0 win, people would have complained about how you won against a bad team. So when it's a 4-0 win, you can't really complain about it being a bad team. It's how you should beat a bad team. They did the job. So now we see going forward what that means. That's pretty much every game. And look, as we're seeing around the world right now, results are weird. Go ask Manchester United about yesterday. Go ask Liverpool about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Results are strange. It's tough because of the amount of games you're playing right now. It's far more inconsistent than it normally is. So will this mean something? It needs to, because this is a team that needs to pick up points to climb up the table. This is a team that can be more successful in terms of the table than they have been. And I think they should be more successful. So, okay, this needs to be that springboard to do it.
Zeus, which apparently is an acronym for at Zero Effort US, for an Overreaction Monday.
Okay.
When Barco magically recovers and returns as soon as the transfer window closes, will you buy the coincidence? Before you say...
before... Okay, now, go ahead and finish it, but I saw this yesterday, and I'm a little insulted by the attitude towards me specifically, but go ahead.
Okay. At Longshoe, before you say there's no basis to doubt the club or the player, everyone has had every opportunity to be straightforward, not tell us it's a straightforward situation, but be straightforward. The supporters deserve better. Last thread. Miss me with any justification that there's a competitive advantage to not disclosing what body part took the knock or being intentionally misleading about the timetable for your only DP to return. GTFO with those juvenile games. Hashtag Overreaction Monday.
All right. First off, I don't think I speak to anybody out there like that. So don't do that. Because somebody says something that you don't like, don't do that. Don't play that game. Seriously. The miss me, the GFOH, GTFOH, whatever. Come on. Let's be a little more respectful in the way we talk about these things, even when we disagree. I know that's something that is a lost art these days, but let's stop that nonsense, first off. Second, let's break this down and try to make sense of it, since I'm wrong about everything. Let's try to make sense of this. The transfer window in Barco. Tell me where there is a rumor of Barco going to another club from the last 2 weeks. Show it to me. Show it to me. You can't find it because there's not one. And don't show me a fan website that's playing Football Manager. Show me where Sevilla, Fiorentina, Lyon, 3 clubs that have been linked to him in the last 6 weeks. Show me where there's been conversation about him joining one of them anytime. If he was, I'm assuming from the first tweet, the assumption is that he is sitting out to try to force a move. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I think it's safe.
Well, normally to force the move, there's got to be interest in the move. You don't normally sit out to force a move when nobody's talking about a move. Okay. So I don't know what to tell you. Second, sitting out to try to force something in this situation when there's nothing to be forced because there's not a move on the table. What is it? And guys, I see all the speculation, but look, this goes back to the last part of it, and this is where I really have a problem with this. And I have a problem with the way it's been reported. Because look, and I'm talking about the way it's been reported from following what Stephen Glass is saying to people. The last part. What was the last part about the... let me clear up one more part real quick because it's an easy one. Okay. There's no competitive advantage from disclosing what body part is injured. Is that what it said?
I want to get this right. Let's see. Everyone's had the opportunity to be straightforward, not tell us it's
the last part.
Last miss me with any justification that there's a competitive advantage to not disclosing what body part took the knock.
Stop. So the player that is fouled more than any player in Major League Soccer, there's no competitive advantage in saying or not saying what body part has been injured. Okay. Miss you with that, okay, that's fine. But then I can't tell you, if I have to miss you with it, that Ezequiel Barco missed most of the second half of the season last year from being kicked in the inside of the knee. If, and you've watched him get fouled more than any player in MLS this season, if it is known that he has a right knee injury, where do you think he's going to get kicked? But I can't say that because I have to miss people with that. Okay, anyway, the last part. Being intentionally misleading with the timetable. Multiple occasions, Stephen Glass has said this. Multiple occasions. Not one. Multiple. He's returned to training, and then he's had a setback. He went to a modified session the next day. He has returned to training, which would make you day-to-day. He has not been able to stay in team training because he hasn't felt right. So he has been bouncing back and forth. That is the situation. You can not like it. You can wish that you had gotten more from him at different points of his career. You can say that he's injury prone. All that stuff's fair game. But when it starts to turn into black helicopters and is it he's punished, or is he sick, or is he injured, or is he trying to force a transfer move, or whatever, that's all speculation, and that's been brought to the part about it's been given credibility that it shouldn't be. Because you're being told consistently that he has been training, and then he hasn't felt right. Your day-to-day when you're back in training. When you're not able to sustain training, you're not playing. These things are real. That's what we know. If anybody out there has information that runs to the contrary, well, get it sourced and go ahead and run with it. I don't know what to tell you. But that's what's being said, and there's nothing wrong with that being said. I don't know what else to say, but man, this has gotten to be where it's like, let's be insulting to people and question my credibility, which I'm not making these decisions. I'm not seeing training. I'm not checking his medical reports. Let's question, the team's credibility when they're telling you things that are consistent with what they told you before. Take it however you want, play with it however you want. I don't know what to tell you, but it is what it is. The transfer part of it makes zero sense. And that's the one that drives me nuts, because it'd be different because we've seen this play out. We've seen it play out in that, okay, rumors start. Well, look at what was being said about Jadon Sancho, which we don't even know if there's anything to that. But he was sick. He didn't play this weekend. He was held out due to illness. oh, he's trying to force a move. Well, you know there's interest in that side at least, and you know that Sancho has said that he's interested in going to Manchester United, or his representation has put it out there that he's interested, or they've agreed to personal terms, or whatever. But there's actual smoke in that. So, okay, he missed the game, he's sick. Is it true speculation? We don't know. But is there at least something to base it on? Yeah. Basing it on rumors that started with Sevilla fan sites and then were followed up with reputable journalists. Reports about Fiorentina being interested, reports about Leon contacting his agent, reports about Fiorentina contacting his agent months ago. Stuff moves fast. There's not been a recent report about any of that. Does it mean they're not interested? We don't know. But they're not talking about it. So, sitting out to force a move, what move? What move? You can't sit out to force interest. That doesn't make any sense, because you're not going to force interest by not playing. And when there's not discussion of a move, there's nothing imminent, unless it's been kept quiet by everything else. And if it has, then wow, credit to the airtight front office and across the world of not having any speculation about an imminent move here. Could something happen fast? Yeah. But then that doesn't have anything to do with him not playing. I don't know what to tell you other than what Stephen Glass has been very clear in saying. He has returned to training. He has then had to step back from returning to training. It's very frustrating for him. It's frustrating for the team. They'd like to have him in the team, obviously. He will get transferred at some point, and it'll be the same nonsense that people said about Pitti. Well, he stinks. He's no good. But we should have got more money in the transfer. You can't play that game. Like, Barco's going to get transferred. He wants to go to Europe. The club wants him to go to Europe. You're going to make that move at some point. But there's not talk of it right now. So for this idea that he's sitting out and choosing not to play, I don't know. And then everybody can start to say, well, I know somebody and they told me that they think this, and I know somebody else and they said this, and then I looked at this and then I said this, and then I flipped a coin, and then I got the Ouija board out, and then I played a video game that told me this, and come on. Like, come on. If we're going to play that game, then let's have more fun with it and get more creative with it than the stuff that's being spewed out there. But if there's actual sourcing to things, then come out with it. But there's nothing that I know of. And the whole thing about getting like insulted about it, I don't understand. Because the fans deserve information, the fans deserve better. Like, if there's nothing to tell you, do you want the club to make stuff up to tell you to make you feel better? I don't know what to say. The club, as a whole, Winter Wind talks about it with Glassy being cautious with players coming back from injury with the twos. I think the club as a whole is more cautious about it with young players. And the one that I think is the reason why they've become more cautious with young players is George Bello. George Bello ended up having a groin issue that needed a surgical option to repair it. George Bello had issues with his groin, I think, before he started playing with the first team. He had the issue in 2019. He had the surgery. But he had issues with that before. He came back from U.S. Youth National Team duty injured, and it never got better. And it's something that Tony Annan has talked about in terms of the individual development, and they learned from the individual development of other players things about George Bello's development, because they see him as a prized player, and I think if you watch his performances, you know why. But they've also seen him miss a lot of time due to injuries. And did they rush him back? Did the U.S. Youth National Teams rush him back? I don't know that information. But young players, you're going to be extremely careful because you can affect their overall development. If Barco's got something that is affecting his ability to play on a regular basis, they're not going to throw him out there right now where you're playing this number of games in a short period of time and have him get injured for an extended period of time. You're not going to do that. I know it's an extended period of time right now. It's day to day, and he hasn't been able to play. Do you want it to get worse? Like, I don't know what to tell you. So you're going to be extremely careful, period. And that's where it is. Captain, Bellows groin is fine. It's talking about why you take care in dealing with young players, because that was a recurring issue. That then led to everybody saying that George Bello was injury prone and that George Bello is not that good and that George Bello isn't that big of a deal, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what to tell you about any of that either. So, Stephen Glass said it after the game. I thought he was extremely clear in it. He said it after the last game. I thought he was clear in it then. If you don't believe him, well, I don't know what else he can say to make you believe him. If you want to run with speculation, make sure that it is abundantly clear that it is speculation. Because what the official story is, and I have nothing to dispute it, and things do add up, is that he has returned to training, and he has not been able to train consistently. He has not felt right after training sessions, so he then has taken a step back. That's keeping him from playing matches. They hope he can play matches very soon. But he's got to be able to train without, feeling wrong, not feeling right afterwards to be able to do that. If you train and you don't feel right afterwards, you can't play because you could get hurt. That's where it's at. And not disclosing the body part, yeah, there is a competitive advantage for that, because somebody who gets kicked 5 to 8 times per match, it's called 5 times per 90 minutes that he's played. He's probably kicked another 2 or 3 that isn't called. I don't want to put a bullseye on what body part it is. I don't want to say it's his left ankle, his right ankle, his left knee, his right knee, his quad, his hamstring. I don't want to say any of that because I don't want to give anybody the ability to kick him there. So that's how I feel about it. And if you want to ask questions, please do. But just there's no need to be that way about it. Okay? Can we not do that here at least? If anybody else wants to act that way, that's fine. Generally, when people start coming at others in an attacking, aggressive way, your questions aren't going to get answered. We try to go through everything here. There's very little that I don't touch on with you guys, from what I know. So just please be respectful to each other and to people who are out talking about it, and just please be respectful.
The element, and you addressed it at the end there, the element for me in all of this is, why should a coach, and take it outside of Atlanta United for a second. Take your favorite college team, take your favorite pro team, take another team in general. Why should a coach sit there and say, well, yeah, he's got a big bruise on his hip, and he's having problems moving around, but we're still going to play him out there for the next game? Why should, and the way that you phrased it was really good, why should a coach put a bullseye on a player across the board and sit there and go, okay, here's what's wrong with him, and we're going to have him play, so go at him? It makes zero sense to me that a coach should sit there and divulge every single piece of information about the health of a player to protect the player, to protect the team, to protect what's going on in the next time that they're going to play.
When it's a player who is getting fouled at a record pace, I'm going to be a little careful with them. Sorry, that's just me. And if that's upsetting, then I don't know what to say. But I don't think it's going to hurt his transfer value. I think he has played well in a number of different occasions. There was interest. There's not a deal right now because the overall transfer market is down about 20 to 30%. That 20 to 30% where it's going to get squeezed is on these kinds of deals. The only one that I've heard of right now that is this kind of level of a deal is the player that Manchester United's reportedly bringing in from Peñarol. That's around $12 million or £12 million or whatever. There's not a lot of those. Martinez Quarta to Fiorentina. And these are from South America to Europe. There's not a lot of those 10 to 20s going right now that are riskier because clubs are having to be a little more strategic and they have less to work with. So I think that's affected Barco's transfer value right now and going right now. Have injuries slowed it down? Yeah, they absolutely could have. But I think Barco will go when the time is right and when the offer is right. And that'll be what everybody wants. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's why he was brought here. So you move on and you do that way. You want to get him back on the field. You don't want him to be back for a game and then be injured for 5 more. You want to get him back where he can play game after game after game for you because you have 8 left. And you're going to need him to get to the playoffs and get where you want to get and make any noise in the postseason. You want to have Ezequiel Barco for as much of that as you can.
Soccer over there, note from Tafka this morning, says, I'm calling it now. This is going to be a weird EPL season, and 40 points won't be the benchmark for relegation safety. When top teams drop unusual points to bottom half clubs, that point spread narrows. 70 points could win the league. 45 could get you relegated, and I think it's an amazing development, though the cause for it is sad. But I'd actually watch an EPL season with that kind of competitive equality and unpredictable results.
It's going to be weird because of the schedule. It's going to be weird because of the pressures that players are dealing with off the field as well. It's just going to be weird across the board. It's going to be weird because home field doesn't mean as much right now. It's going to be a strange season. So could that happen? Yeah. I don't think you'll have a record-setting point total at the top. The relegation part's hard to say because, I don't think that if top teams struggle to be consistent, that means the bottom teams get better. They could struggle too. It just could be spread over more of it in general, but your bottom could really still be as bad as it typically is. We don't know. Your top 10 could spread the points more, and they might not go down to the bottom 10. It's hard to say at this point, but you're going to get weird, crazy results, period. I think the margin for error is just a lot thinner in general for teams. Liverpool losing like that, that's shocking for a team that good to lose in that way. It really is. Manchester United losing like that, not quite as shocking, but still shocking. You're going to get more of that. You're going to get it across all the major leagues in Europe. You're going to get more Hoffenheims beating Bayerns. You're going to get lesser teams beating a Juve. You're going to get lesser teams beating a Real Madrid. It's going to happen. European competition, you're going to get weird results. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be more random. That's for sure.
A hashtag on par reaction from Scott this morning.
Okay.
So glad to see John Gallagher and Lennon tasting success. They've been showing great work rate for several games now and deserve that result against DC. In a tough year, it has been great to see them just give their all to carry this club. Side note, y'all should do a weekly fantasy show. This is my first season trying any fantasy sports, and I finally decided to try and learn and apply what I've heard y'all talk about. And for this week, I managed to finish number 1 in the SDH and Atlanta United leagues and 8th overall. I'm hooked now. Nice.
You beat me. I had a good week, too. I think we see the people who listen to the advice because I'm starting to notice you're doing better. Talking through it's helping me pick some of these things as well, and listeners are taking our advice and doing it one better. So now it's fun. Maybe we talked about it coming into the season, and then things got all kinds of weird. So maybe we put something like that together for next season. It's not a bad idea. It'd be kind of a fun way to talk about some of the individuals. But I'm with you with the guys that you mentioned at the top who have put in a lot of work for this team this season. I think the team as a whole has put in a lot of work. I don't think you're seeing a lot of players who aren't working hard. But to get rewarded for it, you get rewarded for it because you didn't give any early goals. You didn't, fall behind. You didn't have the issues that dent the confidence in this one. You were playing a bad team. That's true. That's absolutely true. And you did what you need to do as a good team. This team should be a good team. They've got to get these kinds of results or 3 points in whatever way you get them against better teams. The Dallas win was a better win than this one. But you need more of these kinds of wins going forward. You absolutely do.
You want me to thank somebody before we jump back into it for hour number 2?
Yes. Why don't you tell us about Steve Apolinsky?
I could certainly do that. Apolinsky & Associates, LLC, proud supporters of everything soccer down here in the SDH network. Wrongful death and serious injury attorneys. If this is a discussion that you need to have, you can have it with Steve or any of the attorneys at Apolinsky & Associates. A couple different ways. You can shoot Steve an email directly, STEVE at aa-legal.com. You can give them a buzz and get a free consultation at 404-377-9191, or go to their website, aa-legal.com. And then when you hit enter, you hit advance, you hit return, whatever keyboard you're using on the size of the device that you are using at that particular moment of time. A pop-up window pops up, because that's what pop-up windows do. They pop up. Conversation can be had right that very second, 24/7, 365, and a quarter with an individual, and they can answer your questions that way. Recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend Magazine, top 100 firms in this here state of Georgia for wrongful death and serious injury matters. It is Apolinski and Associates, LLC. The website is aa-legal.com.
All right, let's get caught up on a few other things as we are in the midst of transfer madness right now. Let's see. More reporting on Arsenal triggering the release clause of Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. £45 million is what's been reported. That means there's no need to negotiate with Atletico Madrid. You trigger the release clause, you come to personal terms, you are good to go. In Barcelona, with all the madness at the moment, you are still going through that petition for the no confidence vote. And so far, you have 13,574 signatures that have been declared valid. You have 669 that have been declared invalid. So not a strong percentage there. You got 5,700 more to be processed. You need to get just under 3,000 more valid signatures with 5,700 to go through. If you do the math and everything stays as it is, you will get that no confidence vote, and that will force a vote on the president, Bartomeu. Barcelona is still talking about Ousmane Dembele. Fabrizio Romano just a little while ago. No agreement between Manchester United and Barcelona. Loan offered from Manchester United. Barcelona want a permanent move or nothing. Manchester United, because they are at the checkout line at TJ Maxx, they're looking around, they're
getting all the popcorn flavors that are there, and the shiny tins, and the candy that's left over from the previous holiday, and the potpourri, and everything else.
Ismaila Sarr is not potpourri, but they made an inquiry on him from Watford. They don't want to move him on loan. They want a permanent deal. It's the same problem. Manchester United is shopping for loans right now on players that do not fix their problems. This is a horrible defensive team, and they're going out and trying to get shiny objects to put up in the window for the holiday season. It's really stupid. And you can say whatever you want about our boy Ole, my boy Ole. I'll defend him because Jose Mourinho was there. He didn't really get much done. Louis van Gaal was there. He didn't really get much done. David Moyes didn't even get a whole season. It's not the manager. It's not the manager. It could be Ole, it could be Pochettino, it could be whoever you want. There's a guy who is in charge of the transfer strategy who has been talking about Jadon Sancho for a long time and hasn't been able to get the deal done, and is now offering loan options to anybody who has got 3 step-overs in a YouTube highlight reel that he sees at the checkout line at TJ Maxx, and he's offering loans, he's not offering purchases, and that's the guy. That's the problem. You don't have a team that's good enough. You don't. They haven't done the things to upgrade it. You're looking to get players in positions that are not the issue right now. Ed Woodward is the problem for Manchester United. You can put whatever manager you want in there, and it's not going to make a difference. Could Ole have done better in not losing 6-1? Yeah, sure. And did you see his reaction to the really stupid tackle from behind that looked like something out of a U14 game? Maybe they can go and combine with DC United in their substitution policies, and you get a good youth rec game. I mean, Ole, there's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can do when you've got defenders making schoolboy tackles because they're frustrated. There's nothing you can do when your captain and the guy that you spend a lot of money on is playing poorly. Harry Maguire is not good. So Ole can be the the fall guy here, but it doesn't fix anything. This transfer strategy for Manchester United, or lack thereof, is shockingly awful for a club of their size and stature, and it's been this way for quite a while. Mm-hmm. You thought maybe they were turning the table with bringing in some young talent. Well, this window has completely botched it. And this should be the window where you continue to go down that road and do things the right way, because you're back in the Champions League. You have the potential to solidify yourself as a top 4 team, and you're not doing it. And that's on Ed Woodward. So if Ole goes because of this, because of a bad result, as plenty of people were saying should happen, it doesn't fix it. It doesn't. It's just another sacrificial lamb, because the problem's Ed Woodward. The problem is Ed Woodward and his lack of a strategy, and just going to the checkout line and stocking up on popcorn flavors and 5-hour energy drinks and whatever else is up there at the checkout line that has a shiny bit of information on the package. That's Ed Woodward's transfer strategy, and it's killing a club like Manchester United. So that's the latest with them. They're trying to get everybody they can on loan. Nobody wants to give them loans. People want purchases. Hasn't happened yet. The party move looks like it's done. That means Arsenal is withdrawing, loaning Torreira to Atleti. They want that to be a permanent deal. And I think that's the latest. Yeah, that's the latest I'm seeing. Manchester United is trying to get Ahmad Traore, 18-year-old at Atalanta, but that would be for January, which, again, doesn't really solve anything at any point anyway.
Nope.
So, good times, Ed Woodward. You are a joke. Raheem Sterling has been ruled out of all 3 England fixtures due to injury. Tammy Abraham, Jadon Sancho, Ben Chilwell delayed from joining the squad after breaking COVID-19 protocol. Those are your numpties of the day, your plonkers of the day. Yeah, that's where we're at. One other thing on the qualifiers and international matches coming up. We've talked about the South American qualifiers being on pay-per-view. Fanatis has been added to that. If you are not a subscriber of Fanatis, you can go to fntz.co/soccer down here. You can see what their offers are. They have a couple different things. If you are a Brazil fan, for example, you can do a package to get their 2 qualifiers that Fanatis will be showing on pay-per-view. You will also get 3 months of the basic service as well thrown into it, and you get a discount based off the per-game price. So they're doing that for most of the countries in South America. Argentina has a package. I think it's $50 for the 2 games, but that gets you 3 months of the service as well. So go check them out, fntz.co/soccer down here. That's our affiliate link. You can't get the pay-per-view games on a free trial. You can get the service on a free trial. Whatever you sign up for there that's new benefits the show if you go through that link, fntz.co/soccer down here. And Fanatis is a place to watch those South American qualifiers.
A couple of greatest hits going on right now. Hertha Berlin looks like they're trying to secure a loan for Mateus Guendouzi, so Mikel Arteta could be getting rid of him finally. Jorge Deulofeu could be going on loan from Watford to Udinese, since the Pozzo family owns both of those. That's just kind of sliding an asset. Theo Walcott looks like he's having a medical with Southampton, so he could be loaned that way.
Ooh, yippee. We're still talking about Theo Walcott these days.
Yep.
Like it matters.
Antonio Rudiger, it looks like Tottenham, PSG, and AC Milan are kicking the tires on him. Christian Eriksen might be heading back to the Premier League to an unknown club.
Okay.
And apparently Gunnar Soros has been registered as redundant by Arsenal. So the gentleman who is in the Gunnar Soros suit, Gunnar Soros is now part of the redundancies that have been put forth by Arsenal. So there will not be Gunnar Soros for the near future.
Well, that's where teams are. I mean, that's absolutely where teams are right now. They can't afford the extra things out there right now. So there will be more. I had a question from Michael Head about Dele Alli, and I've not seen an updated rumor on him. Nope. PSG has been linked multiple times, but I haven't seen anything today on it.
No. Yeah, I haven't either.
So stay tuned on that. Michael also asked about the full-time report from Saturday. I'm not sure why it hasn't posted yet. I'll check on it. I know Mike was trying to get that sorted out yesterday. I'll see what I can find out, Michael, but we're trying to get that up.
Nathan Pugh's in this morning with a couple of things.
I'm surprised. Sorry, Nathan. That was a rough one yesterday.
Hashtag Overreaction Monday. A, Villa just scored again.
They did.
That match was like 2020 had a love child with Murphy's Law. Woof.
Mm-hmm.
B, listening to you two trying to explain and figure out DC's sub-controversy, they don't teach you how to call that.
No, because you don't expect to see it. You don't expect it to be in a game that's actually being broadcast. You expect it to be in the game that's down at the park with the team parents. You know, it might be a dad on one side, might be a mom on the other one, sorting out the lineup card and pulling out the 3-ring binder with the printed out registration cards that then you're showing and you're matching up to the kid's face as they walk by the referee. That's where you expect that issue to be, not in a Major League Soccer match. DC, somebody, whoever submitted the lineup card, obviously screwed up and affected them in the game. And the fourth official allowed it to be screwed up and allowed them to bring in a player who was not on the lineup card. And that's an error a fourth official at a professional level cannot make. And it's an error that should keep that fourth official from working any more games anytime soon. They can't. You can't make that mistake.
C, Lennon 1, Gressel 0.
Easily. I mean, it's not even close. It's been that way all season, by the way. You know, I mean, go read what DC United fans have had to say about Julian Gressel's performances this year, especially defending. They're not good. He hasn't been good. And look, I'm sorry, for a player who was very vocal about being respected or getting the right kind of offer or what have you, not shy about it. A player who, you know, came out at a media availability who I don't think was scheduled at the end of last season and didn't come out in team gear to do it, to talk about the situation. And to talk about how he boosted Joseph Martinez's stats. I mean, there's been a lot of talk and got a big contract because of the performances that he had in Atlanta. But that hasn't happened this season. And Brooks Lennon is a player who is not making that much money I would not expect. I don't know what he's making because the salaries have not been posted. I don't think it's the same amount that has been reported for Gressel. And he's outproducing him. And he's outworking him. I mean, that's the bigger thing is he's outworking him. So DC's got problems, and that's affecting Gressel's output. There's no question about it. He looks frustrated. Everybody in that team looks frustrated. But Atlanta's had problems, and Brooks Lennon has not looked like a player who's had a dip in work rate, whereas Julian Gressel has. And that's a problem if you paid a lot of money to bring him into your team and you're not getting what you paid for.
Point D from Nathan early on. He says, watch some Lasso. I find it a little too on the nose that the angry old guy is named Roy and the striker with the famous model girlfriend is named Jamie. Defo worth a watch, though. Hashtag, what's a wanker?
I've heard many, many times I need to watch that. I need to get Apple TV first. So that might be an off-season thing for me because now that we're in this crazy portion of the schedule where it is game, couple days, game, couple games, day, game, couple games, the game, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Chris Ashley, it's time to turn my hashtag Power Hour takes for Saturday and turn them into my hashtag Overreaction Monday overreactions.
He did pretty good.
And boom goes the dynamite.
1. Leeds United went toe-to-toe with the arguably best team in the PL and pulled out a gritty draw. They look like a team that belongs in the Prem, and I have hopes that they could potentially finish top half of the table. That would be a major win.
If they finish top half of the table, it would absolutely be a major win. But that was the game of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about 7-2, 6-1, 27-5. I don't care about any of that. The best game of the weekend was Leeds and Manchester City because it was played at a pace. It was played with an intensity. It was played with a skill level. It was also played with a level of respect between two teams and two managers. I mean, it was special. Absolutely worth your time. I know Peacock has everything archived for games, and it's worth your 2 hours to go back and watch that. It was that good, and Leeds was the better team in my opinion. If I'm scoring it like a boxing judge, I'm giving Leeds the decision. I think they were the better team, and they're not the more talented team on paper, but they were the better team. They were really good.
2, my Tennessee Volunteers will be rolling into Athens on Saturday at 2-0, ready to shake up the SEC by taking down at Longshoe's Bulldogs.
Oh, good grief.
3, Atlanta United looked really solid on Saturday night in their beatdown of DC. I'm still trying to figure out the whole illegal substitution mess, which I'm sure we'll discuss at length this morning. It's fun to win. Yeah.
Yes.
And 4, and the biggest, in all caps, news of the weekend in my world was at GVL Triumph not only securing a spot in the final thanks to Madison Straw, but Richmond going out there looking like they have no interest in hosting if they make it #no sleep till Halloween.
Accurate. Greenville looking good. Looking good. Might be hosting a final here coming up at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. Tafka. I'm of the opinion that short of Messi and Ronaldo, who provide a global marketing explosion, their jersey sales would cover that kind of fee. No one is worth the kind of money that Eden Hazard was worth in his move to Real Madrid last summer, £150 million.
Different market last summer, too. I don't know if going forward we might be having a different conversation on this, but continue.
The margin of talent between $150 million and $100 million is too small.
No, that's eliminating market effects. I mean, if Real Madrid just says we're going to give you $150 million, or we're going to give you $100 million, and then they're like, well, no, we want a little bit more. Okay, we're going to give you $150 million. Then Real Madrid's a poor negotiator. But if there are teams bidding for that number to go up higher, then that's where the market is. So I don't remember the situation with that one specifically, but you're also talking about clubs that have the money. So it's different. It's just like the conversation we have about designated players. Like comparing designated players in MLS is kind of futile because, salary-wise. Because once you make the decision that they're going to be a designated player, it's down to how much money a team has to spend. If they want to go spend $20 million on a transfer fee and give a player $10 million a year, if they make the decision, it can do that. It counts the same on the cap as somebody who is making 1.5 but has a transfer fee that bumps them over that number. So it's all about what the club has. Real Madrid can throw that money at whatever they want, so they can afford it. If it was Everton buying Eden Hazard for that kind of money, then yeah, I would agree with you. It's not worth it. So it's not. I don't think you can say that in a vacuum. That's just the issue. Is I think it's going to depend. Now going forward, are you going to see as many moves like that? I don't think you will for a period of time. Mbappe could be the one, and I know Tafka mentioned Mbappe going forward, and he's really the guy that's out there that could be the next big transfer. I don't think Neymar will get the kind of transfer that was being talked about in the previous windows. I think Mbappe is the one because of the age, as Tafka points out. I don't care about shirt sales. It's just because you could get him for a 5-year deal and re-up. You could have him in your team for 10 years playing at the top level. So that's a different conversation. But I don't think you can really say, looking at it from the outside, that he's not worth this, he's not worth this. A lot of it depends on the team who is deciding to spend it as to what they have to spend, as to if the player's worth it.
Yeah, when you mentioned Mbappe, Tafka says you're paying for the youth element, the chance he continues to get better, and the ability to resell. But Azar was near 29 when he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, you can question it, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just depends on the team. Real Madrid has that money. They could spend that money, so they're able to do it. Now, if they just decided to spend that money and nobody else was bidding, then that's stupid. That's just a stupid purchase all the way around. But if somebody bid them up and they decided, well, we've got the money and we want the player, okay, let's do it. Then you're having a different conversation.
And Tino, not sure if you've had a chance to hear the audio, but hearing Hamid incredulous about the multiple free headers was entertaining. Olsen talking to Glassy during the substitution drama, not a fan.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to hear it. We weren't hearing it live. The Olsen stuff, look, he's frustrated. I mean, He probably could have handled it better, but I don't know how else he could have handled it at that time, because it's not on him. It's on somebody connected with his club, is my understanding. I don't think Ben Olsen was pressing submit on whatever phone or iPad or whatever they were doing and submitting the lineup. So he's probably pretty ticked off at that point. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Bill Hamid should be frustrated with the defending in front of him because it was pretty awful at times.
5 takes on the 5 stripes for an hashtag Overreaction Monday says, Liverpool's on their way to relegation and Atlanta United's going to win MLS Cup.
Settle down.
Tafka says, let's talk Gallagher's role for the future. Conway's prospects for a first-team contract and most likely Atlanta United 2 or academy player likely to see a homegrown contract other than Conway.
We'll work backwards. So, other one most likely outside of Conway right now, I'd say Will Riley, because he's got the most experience. He is at a position that has a lot of bodies at it right now, so I don't know if you have to do it right the second. But I think it's Will Riley. I think he's the closest. Conway and his potential, he's a special player for me. And I think it's time. It might be time for next season. I think it's time. I think he's done everything that you can ask him to do with the twos outside of just staying sharp. He's been outstanding, and he's developed even more this year from where I thought he developed last year. So Jackson Conway will be a homegrown signing. I know he signed a professional deal with Atlanta United too, but he came to the academy. You have the ability to sign him to a homegrown deal. He'll be a homegrown signing. He could be a homegrown signing anytime you want because you have room on the supplemental side of your roster to do that. Conway's done enough for me, and we'll see if the off-the-field stuff, the stuff that we don't see, is he training hard every day? Is the attitude where you want it to be? All the different things that are part of the conversation. We'll see if he's ready to go. I think he is from what we see on the field. We'll see about the rest of it. And that's not throwing shade on him. I could care. He made a mistake with a second yellow on taking his shirt off after a great goal. Young players do that. It happens. Stop crushing the kid about it. The first part, Gallagher's role going forward. I think when this team is fully healthy and fully stocked up, he's coming off the bench. He's an impact sub. I think with Jurgen Damm, I think with Marcelino Moreno, I think with Ezequiel Barco, I think with Joseph Martinez, those are your guys across that front 3-4. Gallagher, I think, becomes an option off the bench, and a good one, and a really good one. And you need those kinds of players. So I think that's what he turns into. I think that's his role next season if everybody's healthy.
Bartimus Prime on the Canal situation. He says, honestly, the mistake is worse than a youth match. Refs at the youth level often don't have all the information about player registration that the MLS refs and match officials do. If an ineligible player plays, it's hard to pin the blame on the refs in most cases.
Well, Bart's taking it to a different conversation. I'm not taking it from a registration side because these players are registered. I mean, you know who they are. It's just the game day roster. That's the issue because you're not at the MLS level. And it is worse because you're held to a higher standard. I agree with that, but it's a different conversation. The youth level too. I mean, referees who get that, they're not checking the registration status. They're checking, all right, are you on the official printed out lineup sheet that you did? Are you on there? Or are you not on there? That's what you're checking. And if you allow somebody to play who's not on there, you're creating a huge issue. And it's the same thing. It is worse because it shouldn't happen at a professional level. These referees are held to a higher standard. But it's different because you're not worried about registration. You're not asking if Canals is suspended because you already have that. You're not asking if he's on the roster because you know that. You're just literally checking whatever printout is given or whatever method you have for doing that. And I'm assuming now you're doing it by a phone, and he didn't check. I mean, it's just that simple. He didn't check because he allowed the substitution to happen. So the fourth official, it's rough. But it's not about the registration side. Bart and I are going deep into the weeds on this, and it's not really necessary for the conversation. But that happens sometimes with referees and administrators talking about these things. So it's bad. It's very, very bad.
PHR out this morning says, thoughts on playing Orlando without Gillespie? Slightly plays to our advantage, no?
Yeah, it does. I mean, he's a better goalkeeper than Brian Rowe because he's been playing ahead of him. So, yeah, absolutely it helps. And normally you'd have Atlanta United missing players during an international window, and you don't right now. You'll take that. No U.S. games, so you're not losing Gazan or Robinson or potentially Lennon or potentially Heineman. You're not missing anybody. So, yeah, it helps you. You take advantage of it. You do what you can here. You know, Gillespie, all right. You still got to find the goal. You still got to create the chances ahead of it to press Brian Rowe.
Uncertain times, at Who Took My Thrash on Twitter. Even without the goal Saturday and the chances, I've been even more impressed with John coming back toward his own goal and controlling hold-up/long balls and creating opportunities to break out on possession. He seems to have the trust of Gazan and his center backs.
Yeah, and I think that's been a process. I think now they know that they can skip the lines a little bit. If you can't build up the play as you would like, you can skip the lines, play to Adam John. He's going to keep things moving along. So now you've got that option, and they're using it, and that's good. This will always be a team that wants to build out of the back, but if it's not on, it's not on. Go ahead and skip it. Play to John. Let him start the attack from there.
Shiva says the third goal is what I'd love to see more of from our attack. It seems like on the whole we have more runners, and we did look more dynamic.
I agree with that. Sorry, I get a sip of mate.
Get your mate going.
Yeah. I agree with that. You need more combination. You got that combination there. It's been lacking this season. Need to continue getting that. This is a team that can do it, and you've got some players who are playing together for an extended period of time now. It's going to help a little bit, but you're also going to get Jurgen Damm back into the equation. We saw him off the bench. You're going to get Ezequiel Barco back into the equation. You're going to get Marcelino Moreno into the equation. So those things are going to help. I mean, you could see a lineup on Saturday that has Damm, Moreno, and Barco across the front three behind Adam John or behind John Gallagher. That would be pretty good. You would like to see that. And it's possible for the game on Saturday. I think it's you're not going to see Moreno for Wednesday. I don't know if you're going to see Barco or Damm from the start for Wednesday. I'd assume Barco probably comes off the bench first. Damm has already come off the bench. You'd like to have them all available for Saturday if you can. I think that's still the target for Moreno.
Rich Ransom's in this morning. He's got a couple of thoughts.
Rich, your Philadelphia Union let me down.
And his first thought is practically in all caps.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do this correctly. Union lost. Fire Curtin. Fire Ernst Tanner. This team is trying to lose. Curtin doesn't like LGP. I mean, he doesn't like Aronson. Am I doing this right?
Yes, that is correct. Good job.
And then Rich says, but seriously, TFC constantly adjusted and kept the Union chasing with Philadelphia not finding an answer. Good game, but the Union lost control of it. Plus, the Union have not won this season against Columbus, Toronto, and Orlando. Okay, maybe overreacting on an Overreaction Monday, but that's what we're here for, Rich.
A little bit of overreaction, that's true. But yeah, that's the top teams. I think Philadelphia is a top team, but they got to beat a top team. I still believe in the Philadelphia Union, Rich, but they let me down.
All right, let's see. Chiefs coach Steve with a non-soccer thought of the day.
Okay.
Today is the last day to register to vote in Georgia. Do it. Register and hashtag vote.
Yep. This is the last time to do it, so you need to do it. Get it done, check your registration status, and make sure you're registered to vote. This is the last chance in Georgia.
Nick Brawley goes to the question, and you might have already answered this. What Atlanta United 2 player do you feel would be the most exciting player at this point to make the first team next year?
That's a different question. Most exciting, you could say Conway. You could say, I mean, just straight up excitement level, you could say Mackie Jope, but I think he's more of a long shot to make the first team because of international status and his age. He's just a little bit older. Can he make that jump? I don't know. Conway's exciting, though. I mean, he's a different kind of exciting, but Conway's capable of spectacular. So, yeah, I'll stick with Jackson Conway on that.
All right. Let's see. Going into our discussion about what coaches should and shouldn't say, Rich Ransom says there's always this idea in U.S. soccer in that there's more to a story and something is being hidden. So then there's always this anticipation that truth will come out, And, of course, that means then MLS reporters are shills and are being paid by the league. laughing, crying emoji.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre. Everything is questioned, which is fine. But the way things are reported is very different. Maybe it's contacts, maybe it's aggressiveness. I don't know, but you compare the way stories are covered in South America to the way they're covered in Europe to the way they're covered here, and it's very, very different. It is a little surprising that it feels like 90% of the news, and it's changed a little bit with Tenorio and Stejskal and Reuter at The Athletic, but okay, maybe 80% is still broken by Taylor Twellman, which, I mean, is it really breaking it in that way? I don't know. Or broken by Stu Holden or somebody, with one of the national TV partners, which is strange. That's not typical. Usually the news comes out from other places. I mean, I think we've seen that here in Atlanta with South American sightings are being broken by South American reporters on the other side. It is weird. So when there's not a story, sometimes a story is created. And where there is a story, sometimes it doesn't come out until it's done. I don't know. I got nothing. I don't know how that changes. I don't know where that changes. Some of it's just the differences between how different countries' sports media works, but it is a little weird. I just don't like I don't like when it is speculation that is then given credibility when there's nothing to go on with it. It's just speculation. That's where I get frustrated. If it's credibility and speculation, just make it clear it's speculation. Because when you start to report on it like it could be possible, that changes the narrative a bit. I'm not a fan of that.
Also on the board, Rich and Nathan with soccer over their stuff quickly. Manchester United keeps searching for the superstar, and at this point it's constantly frustrating me as a supporter. And Nathan says, I ain't shying away, Jason. I demand excellence and will take it on the chin when it is subpar.
Fair enough. It was subpar. It was bad. But, I mean, it does happen. It does happen. Not really the way you want to go into the international break, but I did not see – I saw a little bit of talk about it, but I didn't see how things actually played out. Roy Keane's comments about it being sloppy in the win over Arsenal that Jurgen Klopp got very upset about and very defensive about. Roy Keane was not set to be on Sky yesterday. I do know that much, and I don't think they were able to get him on Sky yesterday, which is a horrible miss because Roy Keane would have been going nuts. Captain Ragamuffin, your speculation is outdated these days. That is not Monster Energy. That is Mate.
Mate. And
see, I changed the script on you. I'm ahead of you, Captain Ragamuffin.
And last one on Twitter to catch us up comes from Bill Spinelli, who I believe is in for the first time. He says, I watched a Lanús replay on Fanati's plug. I focused on Moreno. He seemed to have a single mentality, attack. It was really exciting to see. He seemed to be the best player on the pitch. The question, who sits when he plays?
One of your central midfielders. I agree. I wouldn't. The only difference I would say about his mentality, I think his mentality is direct to go to goal, but he will come back and defend. I want that part to be understood. He is a two-way player. He will drop deeper. But when he's on the ball, he is looking for ways to advance. He's looking for ways to progress up the field. That is his mentality. And he will go, and he will go with quickness. There is a similarity in style between him and Miguel Almiron. That's okay to say. To expect him to be like Miguel Almiron was in his final games with Atlanta or how he is at Newcastle, no, it's not fair. Because Moreno hasn't had that time to develop that way. He's coming from a club that developed him really well. And he plays in a similar way. but give him a little bit of time to get comfortable as well. Because if you go back to the beginning of 2017, there were questions about Miguel Almiron scoring enough and these things. He was in a more of a true 10 role, which was not what he played coming in. He had not been a 10 before he came to Atlanta. I think that's forgotten rather easily. It was not a situation where it was a slam dunk that Miguel Almiron would be what he was. It was highly expected that he would be a very good player. But he was moved into a different role, and it paid off. Moreno, I don't know if he will be moved into a different role. I don't know if long-term he will be a 10 here. He's wearing the number 10, yes, and I guess that has attracted attention. But he might not play as a number 10. He might play as a number 8. They might play as 2 number 8s. And that's where I'm not really sure who he bumps from the lineup just yet. I think with what they have right now, the idea of Heineman and Moreno is a pretty good pairing in front of somebody because both Heineman and Moreno can give you defensive support. They can both drop to flank the 6. Right now it'd probably be Jeff Larinowitz. So that means that Eric Remedi, that means that Mo Adams, that means that potentially Mateus Hosechu, although he's going to push Heineman and Moreno, but more so Heineman. Those are the guys that I think are on the outside looking in. I think right now when you have everybody healthy, it's Larinowitz, Heineman, and Moreno as your 3 central midfielders that give you the best trio.
All right, we are officially caught up on the Twitters.
We're officially caught up?
We are officially caught up on the Twitters, sir.
I like it. Officially. I'm going to have to use that one.
Officially. And it looks like, thanks to Ricky Ricardo, Queensboro FC has put out a video welcoming themselves to the soccer world.
They've already been welcomed to the soccer world. What are you talking about?
That's Queensboro FC 10:06:20. They're doing something tomorrow. So they're teasing something. They're teasing an event tomorrow with something that they posted video-wise about 35 minutes ago.
Do you want to give more information on who they are? This is the club that David Villa has founded in the USL Championship that is starting next year.
Yes.
In New York.
Yes. So apparently they're doing something tomorrow. They put out a tease video.
Apparently they're doing something tomorrow.
Well, they put out a tease video, and it's a video of a gentleman that looks like on a motorcycle at the National Tennis Center going under the globe from the World's Fair.
What do you think they're going to play tennis?
I think so.
I mean,
I think David Villa is going to be going back and forth with Novak Djokovic on one of the courts over at the Ash Tennis Center. I think that's.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
No, I don't think David Villa can go head to head against Novak Djokovic.
No, when you have more, go with some good speculation on what they're going to do. That's not even interesting speculation to get people buzzing. Like, come on, give me something better than that, John. People have started talking about Ezequiel Barcos holding out. You can't give me something better on what Queensboro is going to do tomorrow?
Maybe David Villa is going to sign for Queensboro.
Yeah, that's better. There you go. He's going to come out of retirement. See? Start the rumor. Go ahead. That's what it's all about these days.
I'm all about starting rumors.
Have at it.
Shiva. Last one from Shiva this morning. Atlanta does not have players going on international duty. This is a huge advantage, especially this year. We have to look at it as a huge advantage against some teams that will miss key players and go get some wins.
Yeah, it's big. It's really big because the teams that you're facing are going to be missing players. You're not. You take full advantage, and for once, you go for it here because you've missed players in situations, and it's hurt you. So that's where you're at. I see Ed Aarons is tweeting that Wilfred Zaha, who has been linked with a move away from Crystal Palace every window for 75 years, is going to stay at Crystal Palace. Unless Atletico Madrid go in for him, that only happens if Arsenal gets the move done with Thomas Partey, which is being reported as moving forward. You're going to see the rest of the day, like a report on somebody at 12:30. Not happening, no moves happening, he's going to stay here for the rest of the season. Then you're going to see at 12:45 somebody else come in and say, it's done, he's already left town, he's having a medical somewhere over here. Then you're going to see somebody else at 1 o'clock and say, no, he's linked to this club. Like, he's going somewhere different. Then you're going to have an agent say something at 1:15. Then you're going to have a club come out and say something about it at 1:30. Like, it's really going to get bonkers here later on some of these potential moves as things get weird. I think you're going to see some come down to the wire. The questions now, I think Manchester United and Barcelona are the two that everybody's looking at to see what happens. Chris Winterburn, who writes for Marca in English, so based in Spain, Chris has said, from what I can deduce, and this was 28 minutes ago, Manchester United essentially have done deals for Cavani, Tejas, which is another one that is either done or not done, depending on who you talk to. Pelistri, which is the player from Peñarol, and Traoré from Atalanta, the 18-year-old, but that's not supposed to come in until January. They now have to make a decision on whether they want to guarantee parting with money on either Dembele or Sarr. So that's where it stands. We'll see. It's going to get weird. It's going to get weird. So now, Guillaume Balage, speaking of weird, Atletico don't know anything about Arsenal paying the Thomas Partey buyout clause, which he says is £50 million, or €50 million, £45 million.
Right.
Guillaume says they, of course, do not need to know, as that is done directly with La Liga, but after talking regularly about Lucas Torreira, they expect a courtesy call that has not arrived yet. There we go. So,
there you go.
All the things.
Yes.
The Twitch pitch, you guys have been going all around the place lately. Let us know what's on your mind, and we'll get into it as we wrap up. It's been a busy overreaction Monday. I would imagine it will continue to be busy the rest of the way. It's going to be complicated with the European teams. I'm just waiting to see what MLS potential involvement comes up. There's still questions about Aronson, although if it's not going to go through until January, I guess it really doesn't matter. Yeah. I don't think there's questions about Barco, but others would tell you there are, and I guess I need to miss them with that. I don't know. I don't know. McKenzie's gotten quiet, leaving Philly, so I don't know if there's anything to that. I mean, on a busy decision day in Europe, the transfer wire of rumors that MLSsoccer.com usually has tagged to the front of the page is not up. I think I might be able to find it if I go to the news section. Yeah, and in the news section I can find it, but there's not much going on, to be perfectly honest. From Saturday, Portland's linked to a left back at Bonfield, Claudio Nicolas Bravo. That's linked from Argentine reporting, and again, that window doesn't close. The MLS window is open. Latif Blessing is drawing interest from Vasco da Gama. We've talked about that. There's continued to be reports from Globo Esporte on that one. It was talked about last night on the RSL LAFC broadcast. That can happen anytime. That's not tied down to today. That's it. You had a homegrown signing for Dallas, Justin Che. You had Francisco Calvo's option picked up for next year by Chicago Fire. Memo Rodriguez signed to a new deal for Houston, which I think is a good deal. You had the Mason Toy trade. That's it in the MLS transfer window, rumor report, etc. running list. I'm a little surprised. There's not more MLS involvement and conversation today. I guess it does come down to the amount of money coming up. I guess it's down to some teams just not having the amount of money to spend. And they're doing the, Burns says, MLS transfers out have been slow because the Bundesliga clubs have cut back their transfer spending dramatically this window. That's part, yeah. I think everybody has, but that's where a lot of players have gone, and that has been cut back. But we'll see if something gets announced on Aronson. We'll see if anything happens with McKenzie. So Rich Ransom is freaking out today. But by all accounts, the Brendan Aronson move, he was not going to leave until January. So it could get announced today, but he still finishes the season out. McKenzie, I don't really know what that could end up looking like if anything happens today. Tafka tweeted, so Heinemann and Moreno are both central attacking midfielders. That fair? Yeah, they're central midfielders. I mean, that's fine. Whatever term you want to put on it. We get really deep into terms and numbers and 6s and 8s and 10s, and they're this and they're that. I mean, these are both guys that I think, give you both sides of the game. They're not a 10 where they're not going to play defense. They're not a 6 where you're not expecting them to get forward. So they're, if you want to call them central attacking midfielders, that's fine. If you want to call them central midfielders, that's fine. If you want to call them attacking 8s, that's fine. I don't know if I'd call them a 10. They're not 6s. Pick whichever one you want to go with. 4 card says, any news on the goalkeeper from Lanús that was supposed to come with Marcelino Moreno? The way that was reported out of Argentina was not that he was coming in the same transaction, was that he would be joining Atlanta next season on loan. So 4/21. So there might not be an announcement until January or closer to it. So that was the way that I saw it reported consistently out of Argentina, 4 card. So that's where it is. He wasn't going to come now. I think there was some confusion at the beginning of that, but all the reporting I saw after the fact was that he was not coming until 2021. So that loan could go through for next season. Abby reminds everybody to go vote for Brooks Lennon as the MLS Player of the Week on Twitter. 1 goal, 2 assists. It's hard to argue. Mm-hmm. Burns says, I think the Bundesliga clubs would theoretically have enough cash to buy these MLS players, but they are saving cash for what will be a difficult season economically. And that's what you're going to hear more and more. It's going to affect some clubs' purchases right now because we heard the Barcelona report today. They've lost a lot. They're expecting to lose more. There's really no way to know when you're going to get full capacity back in the stands worldwide. So you've got to be careful. You've got to be smart. And, yeah, you could go buy a player right now, but you might not be able to buy a player in January or next summer because of it. And if it's not a dramatic need, probably need to keep that money in your pocket at the moment.
Yeah. Bart is asking, he says, I always thought we should have made a move for Mason Toy when Joseph went down.
I didn't think he would have been available at that time. The reason why, I think, and I know a lot of people expected a move to be made immediately or a bigger move to be made. It's hard because, I mean, if I'm Mason Toy, I wouldn't want to do that move because next year you're going to be on the bench. You know, it's a short-term thing. If you had been able to get a player who was going to be out of contract at the end of the year and it's basically like a 1-year rental, if there was a veteran like Kubo Torres that became available and you get on a free, okay. A young player with a lot ahead of them in their career, they probably wouldn't want the move. Toy would have been one that maybe because he would have thought that it's a spotlight for me that I'm not going to get elsewhere that could lead to another move. Okay, if you can convince him of that and he's on board with it, sure. But anybody you brought in, and even Kubo Torres, I mean, this is Joseph Martinez's team. He's going to be the guy next year. So you have to know that coming in, and that limits, I think, the potential options. Toy could have been interesting. I just don't know if he was available at the time. I think things have changed in Minnesota to where they just decided that he wasn't going to make it, and they moved on, and we'll see if they're right.
There's one thing that I wanted to bring up before we go, and I know that we're a while from that, but it was just something that stuck in my head. Great news for Soccer in the Streets that came across in the emails. And I thought that was really cool. And I've got to find the email.
I was like, you're starting it, so do you want to finish it?
Yeah, they won the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Annual National Sports Award. They were a part of that. Age Up, Border Youth Tennis Exchange, Running Medicine, Soccer in the Streets, and the United States Association of Blind Athletes have been selected as 2020 winners of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Sports Award. The winners will receive a $25,000 cash award and will be honored at a virtual ceremony on October 4th at 8 o'clock, airing live on their foundation Facebook page. This award recognizes and honors those in the sport who display an innovative and collaborative approach to making their communities a healthier place to live. This includes sports teams, athletes, and community-based organizations that use sports as a platform to address many of the root causes that influence health and health equity.
Yeah, it's an award that is very difficult to win. It's an award that honors big transformational kinds of projects, and that's what Station Soccer is. So very cool. That's a great cash award at a time when you need cash awards, and it's probably more importantly a huge bit of prestige. It's a big deal, and that's why I'm wearing my Soccer in the Street shirt today. Very cool to see them get that award, and it's something that I know that I was there. I applied for that award many times, and it's something that I know is a very difficult one to get, and something that they've tried to get many, many times before. So to get it here and to be recognized for this kind of project, very, very cool. So congratulations, and it's something that's needed. The Lindbergh project, I think, is getting pretty close to opening to the public. It might be this week. I know they've done some test things on it, so everything is coming together there nicely. Next projects are coming. I mean, even with the challenges right now, the next projects are in the pipeline. We'll be doing another trivia round here a couple of weeks so you got time to study, to raise money coming up. And John, no more excuses. You're going to play. Stop being a chicken, and you're going to play.
What if I raffle off?
No, you've said that 3 times. You haven't raffled off anything. You're going to play. Stop being a chicken. You're going to play. Stop it.
All right.
Stop it.
All right.
You're playing because I want to trash talk every time.
As you should.
Yes, but you're playing, so no more nonsense.
Right.
That'll be coming up here shortly. We'll get you the registration link and all that here coming up. But very cool news, and that deserves a ton of praise. Everybody over at Soccer in the Streets and the team for winning that award and pushing forward with Station Soccer right now.
Yep. A quote from Sanjay Patel says, Soccer in the Streets and our Station Soccer partners are both humbled and honored for this prestigious recognition. History tells us the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has impacted many communities. Winning this year's RWJF Sports Award means we are making positive strides in the health, equity, and social justice space. We are very proud to accept this award.
Back into the Twitch pitch, Shiva talking about transfers shows how big the Pitti transfer was when it happened. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, you're not seeing $18 million thrown around a whole lot right now. It's not happening. I mean, the young player from Peñarol going to Manchester United is like $12 million. So to get $18 million in that deal, and for Pitti to get the contract that he got, yeah, that's why when that deal came about fast, everybody jumped on it because it made a lot of sense. Seeing what else we have got. Ricky Ricardo says, man, Chicharito and the Galaxy have been bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's been really bad.
What is it, 0-6-2 with Chicharito in the lineup?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I don't understand it. Chicharito's a good player. I do not get it. I do not get it at all. It's got to change. I don't know if this is on Guillermo Barros Escalotto. Is it just the team has not come together yet? It doesn't make any sense to me. It should be easy with a forward with his quality to give him opportunities to score.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just truly don't. Let's see here. Soccer for Good OG says, John, if I can finish third, you can do trivia. Yeah, no more being a chicken. That is not accurate.
What if I have date night? Maybe the boss and I can play as a group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me get caught up on the Twitch pitch because we got a bunch now. This is good. Okay. Colonel, I believe Saturday was the first time that Swansea City and Atlanta United have won on the same day. Perhaps El Mataflo can confirm. Declaring Atlanta's Swansea curse is broken. Got to confirm it, but I think so. I think that's accurate. Ricky Ricardo talking about the goalkeeper from Lanús. Wasn't it a twos loan? I think it was reported as such. I believe so, but it was always reported as for next year. It didn't make sense for a twos loan for the rest of the season anyway, because at that time, by the time you get him in, there wouldn't be more games because the season's over now. So that's where it's at. Abby says, when Marcelino does come in, y'all need to do selfies with your new scarf. Tag, there's no tagging Marcelino because he doesn't have social media, but tag Atlanta United, tag Soccer down here so we can share it. We are getting him a scarf so that's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
He will be getting one, and he'll know about everything that's going on with it. Since he's not on social media, we can't tell him on social media, so we're going to make sure that he gets one and knows what we're doing. He will know what all you guys are doing for his first club. So very cool to welcome him, and thanks for making all this happen.
Yep. Deliveries went out over the weekend as best they could.
Yep. The further ones out from the metro area hitting the post office today. So be on the lookout starting tomorrow.
Major props to Abby Shipping for helping us out with that.
Yes. Abby was huge. I kept trying to make it easier for Abby, and she's like, "No, I'll drive here." And I'm like, No, that's really far. And she's like, "No, I'll drive there." And I'm like, "Abby, that's out of state. You're not driving to South Carolina." And then we sorted out the delivery route. But no, Abby was a huge help, and that saves money. That saves money and allows us to donate more. So very, very cool. Like I've told you all from this one, the way we're doing it, every bit of money that's coming in, Die Hard gave us a discount. This is crazy. Okay, sorry, I got Tei Issei on, and it's like some go-kart racing, like big time thing, and I guess somebody got wrecked, and they were standing outside their go-kart off to the side, and they threw the bumper onto the track at other cars, and then he just like bull rushed somebody in the pit area, and you got a huge fight between these go-kart racing people.
Tony Stewart's doing go-karts now.
No, this is a real fight. This isn't Tony Stewart fighting. This is crazy. Anyway, sorry, I got completely distracted there. I was expecting transfer news, and I got people falling over go-karts fighting right now on my TV. We're donating every bit of money that we make from these scarves. So we got a discount on the price. Abby and John have helped us save on shipping costs. So every bit that we can plow into Atlético Palmira, that's what we're doing. And that will get to them once we sell out the rest of the scarves, which we have 25 left.
Get them, folks.
They're consistently moving quickly. So if you want to get one, send us a message. We'll get you taken care of. Pay via PayPal, and we'll get your scarf out to you as quickly as possible. Questions from the Twitch pitch as we go into stoppage time. Matt Wagner, do you see Atlanta keeping at least Kubo or John? I do. I mean, I think John was brought in to be Joseph's backup. Wouldn't surprise me if he continues in that role. I don't know what the terms of the deal were with Kubo, and that's the hard thing about when you're making signings because of an immediate need. Sometimes it can affect your overall depth chart. I don't know if Kubo, the only way you could get him was a multiple-year deal. I don't know. I don't know if you have an option at the end of the deal. I don't know if John has an option. I think you'll keep one of them for sure. And I think John being brought here to be that guy and being something different this year, it would not surprise me if he's that guy going forward. But if you had to commit to Kubo and he's comfortable being in a reserve role and off the bench role, then maybe he gets that spot instead. I don't know. But I do think one of them will stay. I completely agree. A lot of conversation about that. Modaflow and Vito the Monkey both said they thought it'd be John as well. Lots of hyping up Soccer in the Streets for the award today. Big deal. Very big deal for them. Burns says Atlanta United seems to be assuming Glassy's personality more and more. No frills, hard work, players with bad performances get benched. Meza, Remedi. It's basically work ethic over pure talent. I don't know if I'd say the last part completely totally, but the part about bad performances, yeah. I mean, Eric Remedi had a horrific mistake in Chicago. He didn't start in this one. I don't know if Meza's been in that spot. I don't think Meza was benched because of poor performance in Chicago. I didn't think he had a poor performance. That might be a little more rotation. The Remedi one, look, you make a mistake like that, I think you have to. Meza's more of a question mark, but I do think they are assuming the personality a little bit more because he's getting a chance to work with them. So, I mean, you're getting more of a chance for the personality to rub off with a little bit of training. Now, you're not going to get a whole lot of training the rest of the way, to be perfectly honest, so hopefully it's rubbed off enough. It has to be hard work. It has to be scrappy. There has to be a lot of work ethic right now. Moreno will fit into that. I mean, even as a number 10, as a designated player, he's going to fit into that. He's going to buy into that. That's the kind of game he brings to the table, which will, again, reinforce and rub off on others. I do think it's rubbing off more because those things take time. managers' personalities, I think good ones, you see it rub off on a team. Managers who communicate well, you see that rub off on a team really well. And that was something that Frank DeBoer, I think, struggled with. I think Stephen Glass has started to implant his personality into this team a little bit. Soccer in the Streets trivia, October 15th. I couldn't remember the specific date. Thank you, Abby. Sign up. It might be open now. If it's not, we'll push it out this week, start to get you all signed up. But October 15th, write that one down for the next Soccer in the Streets trivia. Not sure who the special guest is going to be just yet, so stay tuned.
15.
No excuses, John. Stop being punk.
Loses trivia. Okay.
Yes, there you go.
Got it.
Ricky says, if the form winds up working, go enter the AmFam, American Family Insurance Atlanta United 2021 kit sweepstakes for a chance to win the new kit. Every entry gives a $5 donation to Soccer in the Streets. I know Brad Gazan tweeted this out. I think he put it on his Instagram as well with the information. You can sign up for however the kit unveil is going to be done, and I'm sure it's probably a little up in the air right now with coronavirus and all that. So, but you can go sign up, and every entry is a $5 donation to Soccer in the Streets. So please go do that if you can. Uncle No Pockets cautiously excited for the new 2021 kit, and it'll be the new red and black striped kit. It'll be the new primary kit. The white and gold will stay for another year. What? What are you laughing at? What?
From Sam Williamson and Fabrizio Romano.
Okay.
Gunnersaurus to Tottenham. Here we go.
Oh,
He's
no.
joining Spurs as a free agent after his contract was terminated by Arsenal after more than 30 years at the club. Medicals and paperwork are done. Manchester United have been in talks with him, but his heart was set on Tottenham. #deadline day.
Oh, no. It's going to be crazy.
Could you imagine Jose Mourinho talking to Gunnersaurus?
Go ahead and do what you want to.
What? Well, can we say the word on the show?
Why is he going to tell Gunnersaurus to be that? Why are you expecting that Gunnersaurus is not that?
What, to be a bastard?
Yeah, he's a dinosaur. I mean, come on.
Be a bastard.
Probably is. He already is one.
Especially when Arsenal comes to town.
Yeah. I mean, go over there and kick Mikel Arteta and go into the stands and kick somebody for making you redundant.
Be a bastard, Gunnersaurus. Be a bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, do it. Let's see here. Lots of people trying to sign up there. Atlanta Phoenix says you killed the show, which happens from time to time. It's okay. Nick Alifi saying that you can't interrupt date night. He's got plenty of time to sort out date night. Nick, stop giving him excuses for not playing, because he's constantly like, oh, I'm going to lose, and I'm going to raffle it off, and it doesn't get raffled off.
I'm being matter of fact about it.
No, you're whining. You're just not doing it in a whiny way, but it's whining. Let's be real. You're worried about not doing well. You need to stop being scared. You already have a dog, so you don't need a dog to make you not be scared. You need to play trivia. No more excuses. Got it? Laying down the law on that.
I'll ignore that phone call.
Was that Gunnersaurus?
Probably. But no, you know how you get like those the phone calls that have your prefix on your phone and then it's a different 4 numbers after the fact? Do you ever get those?
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah, no, I get those occasionally. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I get them all the time, and so I've been blocking a bunch of numbers that are attached to my prefix on my cell. So that is going to be added to the list.
Uncle No Pockets asked for a Price is Right fail sound, and the reason I don't play that anymore is they're very protective of their sounds. On our YouTube, where the audio version gets posted to YouTube, we have gotten a copyright notice.
We got
on
a
that
copyright finger wag from YouTube, huh?
Yeah, we've got it. It's not from YouTube directly. It's from the people who protect the copyrights of Price is Right. Price is Right and WWE are the ones that I have avoided.
Yeah.
Because they seem to notice it every single time.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So Jason Nick says, with winning 4-0, I forgot Meza didn't even play Saturday. Interesting. I don't know if it's that interesting. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't see it as that interesting. I think it's probably rotation. Hadn't seen Anton in a while. Remedi, I did think was because of the performance in Chicago. Tesco says to me, how would you use the new U22 initiative to improve the roster? What positions would you fill on the squad? Going forward, and it depends on, one, what happens with Barco long term, if he's here to start next season, because I'm thinking about it more from the rest of this window, which I don't think they'll be very active outside of maybe homegrown signings or things like that, and the January window preparing for 21, where Barco could go in that one. Maybe. I don't know if it's going to happen. So if he goes at some point, you're going to have to replace him. How do you replace him? That's the question. And the U22 initiative gives you the possibility to replace him with a young winger or a young number 10 if you want to go down that road. You'll also have a designated player spot to work with, which you could use for a veteran 6 or a veteran winger or a veteran 10 if you want. Those are the things that I think are the questions. Now, you can solve them in different ways. You might say, I don't want a 10 because I'm going to play 2 attacking 8s in Moreno and Heinemann. You could say, I want to get a 10, and then you're going to have to make a decision about what your midfield looks like with Lorenowitz, who could retire, with Adams, with Remedi, with Heinemann, with Josetu, if you're going to play Moreno and a new number 10 and one more. Okay, then you've got a lot of players. You're going to be in a Gunnersaurus territory with redundancies. If Barco moves, you're going to need to replace him, and I think he's probably best suited as a winger at the moment with the way your midfield's structured. So you got to make that decision how you do it. Your right wing is in good hands with Jurgen Damm. Your number 9 is in good hands with Joseph Martinez. Your back line, I think, is fine. I don't think you're looking to upgrade with DPs or U22 DPs / young money / whatever on the back line. I think you're good in all those positions. I think it's 6. I think it's the 10 if you decide you want a 10, and the wing when Barco goes. I think those are the questions, and it just depends on what's available. But the U22 initiative gives you more flexibility because I do think you could see Atlanta's strategy shift. Rather than just signing young designated players that have resale value, you can use the designated player spot in a lot of ways like teams use TAM to make their overall squad better. But Atlanta could do that if they're going to get those young players with resale value in the U22 section. So you've got some increased flexibility. The old ways of the way Atlanta's built a roster, and people will keep citing them and people will keep saying it, if you have new rules, you have to adjust to those. Mm-hmm. So I think that could change. It would not blow my mind if you got into a situation where you decided, you know what, we're going to go get a veteran, and when you say veteran, I'm thinking more in like the Pity Martinez age of veteran, like 24, 25, 26, who does still have resale value, by the way, but is an established player who could be a 6, who could be a 10, who could be a winger, but you'll also have that U22 initiative where you could get any of those positions as well. And it's going to depend on what the market looks like and who's available and what you could go get. Those are the 3 spots I'm looking at, Tesco. That's where I'm at. Ricky Ricardo says, get him on the show, LOL. Do you want us to get Gunnersaurus on the show? I don't know who you're talking about. Could be a lot of different people to get on the show, Ricky. We will have a 1v1 with Tony Annan coming up sometime in the next probably week to week and a half. We had already talked about doing one after the end of the USL season. Give him a couple days to decompress, and we'll figure out when that can get slotted in to get his input on how everything went in his role, interim manager with the 2s, everything with the academy, with all the developments there, with MLS Next. We'll get into all that with Tony here coming up in the next probably week to 10 days. Is a safe range of when you'll hear that. Vito says, is the Walks-Miles center back pairing better than the one with Meza in it? I don't think it is. I think Meza-Robinson is the best center back pairing. But you could make the decision if you want to try Meza as a 6. Well, it could open up the possibility. But Jeff's played really well as the 6. So there hasn't been a net need. I think Meza-Robinson's a better pairing. I think Walks is very good, very competent. He can play anywhere on that back line you need. But I think Meza-Robinson's the best center back pairing. That's where I'm at with it. Let's see. Katie, we'll get you sorted out. I think Abby's already delivered all of the scarves that she currently has, so yours might go in the mail today. That's the plan anyway. So once you get it tomorrow, so you'll get it quick. Katie just got in on scarves. There's a couple more people that got in on scarves over the weekend, so they're going fast. We're down to like 25 left.
Cool.
Big time. It's moving quickly. I'm not playing Mario Kart. I was pulling sounds from Mario Kart, though. That's true, Uncle. It's absolutely true. We are not good guys down here, J.W. Parker. Mourinho would not like that, and we like Mourinho after the show. So, no, we are not just good guys down here. That's true. Alex Pacine learned that there's another Soccer Down Here listener a few houses down. That's crazy.
Nice.
They would also ordered a scarf.
That's great.
That is hilarious. Coming out of the woodwork. Katie Weaver said Miles missed a few opportunities Saturday on set pieces. He did. He had a couple that you needed a better header from him. He had 2 in a row. Katie says, could offensive production be the last barrier for him making a big money Europe move? It could be. You got to convert on those. There's no way around it. You got to convert on those. That needs to happen. And he's got the vert. He's got the ability in the air to do better on those. And you need to finish it. Uncle No Pockets talking about the white and gold. Not a fan of the collar. I actually like it because it's like totally 90s. And that's by design. I like it more than I thought I would. I think it's a one-time thing, though. I don't think they'll keep that on future kits. I think it was all part of the 25th anniversary 90s throwback because it definitely has a 90s feel to it. But I kind of like it. Jarrett wants Gunnersaurus in the next All or Nothing. If Tottenham does an update on theirs, I hope they do because the Leeds one was a good update. I'd like to see a Tottenham update on this crazy season. I don't know if they're planning on it or not, but yes, have Mourinho recruiting Gunnersaurus, please. Let's make this happen. This would be good times. I think Arsenal would have fun with it too.
Yeah.
Ricky says, for someone who gets ripped for food takes on a daily basis, being embarrassed by soccer trivia should be the least of your concerns, John. That's accurate.
I know going in that my soccer trivia is going to be based on how quickly I can sit there and try to dredge up an answer on an antiquated computer.
No, you're not looking stuff up on a computer. It's multiple choice. And you're answering it quickly because you only got like 20 seconds. You can't look something up in 2 minutes, let alone 20 seconds.
Wow, then I really am in trouble, aren't I?
Just answer the questions. Guess.
There you go. Well, I already wrote it down. October 15th is when I lose, so I'm already there.
Ay. It's for the kids, John.
For the kids.
You're going to get some of them right. You'll get lucky occasionally.
That's more like it.
It'll happen.
Awesome.
Uncle is wanting the he's wanting the giant Price is Right fail sound to Price is Right. I would agree. It's a good sound, and I don't get to use it, so I have to use the one that I've stolen lately that I kind of like for the same idea. I believe it's the Super Mario Brothers dead sound. Actually, I don't think it's Mario Kart.
I think so. Yeah.
Mario Kart probably does a similar version, though. Yes, Ricky Ricardo, that is why you have not heard. You just made the list because last time I did it, I got an email notification.
Really?
It's true. Because it's WWE. That's what I just said. It happens. Fender says, what was the prettiest goal of the 4? Everybody liked the team goal better. I like the Lennon left-footed strike. And it's not pretty. It's different. You want to go pretty? Okay, sure. The team goal, the third one. Best goal of the 4, I'll go with the Lennon strike because that was a rocket.
Yep.
The first one was really good too, by the way, and it's getting lost in the shuffle completely. That's a really good finish from John Gallagher.
Yes.
But all of them were good. Even the Adam John header was a good one too. So all of them are good in different ways. El Mataflo says, Gallagher's second, no doubt, makes me wonder what is valued in a goal in this country. People like the power.
Power.
That's what they like. I like both. I like power on goals. I like team goals. I like skill. I like savvy.
How about Jackson Conway's goal against the Miami FC?
Power. That's what it was.
Patrick Nielsen's pass, though.
Yeah, it's a good ball. That's a backspin on it too. It checked up for him. Really good goal. The Twos were unable to use it to get a win, though. It fell a little bit after that. A bizarre penalty was awarded that we never got a replay on, which was also bizarre. It's a great kick save by Ben Lundgaard. Another penalty was awarded that I think was an accurate penalty, and Romario Williams scored on that, and the Twos went down in Miami in the last match of the season. So great goal from Jackson Conway to finish it off, though. Yep. Player of the Week voting ends in about 43 minutes.
Get to Brooks Lennon voting, folks.
Yes, vote for Brooks for that. 1 goal, 2 assists. Tesco says, I'd probably use the normal designated player for a seasoned pro and focus on the young ones for the U22. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I really think it's going to happen. Tesco also loves the Twos and happy we have a great pipeline for years to come. That pipeline's gotten strong this year, too.
Yep.
When you've seen the amount of minutes that Will Riley, Caleb Wiley, Coleman Gannon, Jackson Conway, Matthew Edwards, all of those guys have played this season. And then you're getting new players emerging. You get Efrain Morales signed to a homegrown deal. You get David Mejia emerging into this group. You get a Johnny Fortune emerging into this group. This is a young team in terms of homegrown signings. And then you get the guys like the Lawrence Weichpath who come out of college that were not hyped up. And you've got a Jack Gurr who is among the league leaders in chances created. You've got Mackie Jope. You've got Babukar NJ. You've got some players that are wild cards that could end up being a big surprise. That's what the Twos are there for. You do want the Twos to get into the postseason. You do want the Twos to win more games. You absolutely do. This year, I think they would have won more games and been a playoff team in a normal USL season. When the groups were drawn, they were put into a group with 4 teams in the group with 3 other teams in their group. 2 of them are 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, in Charleston and Tampa Bay. They got the 2 playoff spots. Period. That was it. But you look at the games Atlanta, especially Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Atlanta played Tampa tough. Tampa Bay every time. And Tampa Bay is a veteran, good team. They are, I think, the epitome of what a independent USL championship team is supposed to be. Tough, a lot of veterans with a lot of experience. They are mixing in a few young guys. They went out and got some guys from Europe. This is a good squad. It's a good club. And Atlanta United's team that was, on average age, probably about 7, 8, 9 years younger at times, held their own with the Rowdies. Good performances. The performances have been good. The level of play has been good with the Twos this year. You got to start getting the results, and if the level of play continues to grow, and you have a normal season where you have a normal playoff structure, and you have some first-team players stepping down and helping, or some young players who have just joined the first team getting minutes there, you'll make the playoffs next year. I think that's the goal here. Let's see here. Jason Nix wants to know how much dinosaur allocation money would it take to get Gunnersaurus? It's got to be a lot. He's a veteran. He's got good experience. He's got a good CV.
But can you get the Larry Bird exception though?
We're talking dinosaurs. Why are you talking about Larry Bird?
Veteran. Just the veteran. It's just the veteran allocation.
You know how that doesn't even make sense, John. You know how the Larry Bird rule works. You don't have him. That didn't even work in any form or fashion.
Oh, that's true. You have to have him first before you can.
Yeah, what you should have done if you were going to try to make a joke and go down that road was you could have made some talk about a pterodactyl exception of some sort if you want to go down the dinosaur route and try to tie it in. But you went Larry Bird, and it didn't even work. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
And I got a new button to play with.
There you go.
Tesco wants to see Meza as a 6 at least once. I do too. Abby talking about, and this was a question from Joe Patrick in the post-game media availability with Walks and Robinson, why Robinson was on the left side as opposed to the right side, and Glassy said that Walks feels more comfortable on the right side. So they wanted to make him, who is not the regular there, feel a little more comfortable. Robinson could play on either side. Didn't really matter too much. Ricky wants players on the podcast. Players train right now, so it's kind of hard. Yeah. The 1v1s is where we can do that from time to time, and it's not easy to do, and it's not always easy to pull off. So we've had so much going on, I haven't really been able to pursue it too much. It's something that I'd probably like to do more with the twos and with even potentially like academy players as they're starting to get into the twos a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll try to explore a little bit more for next year. Because so much, and this is where, it's not me in a weird spot, but where guys are available for interviews and they get the opportunity because they don't get a ton of time to do that. If they're going to go to radio, it's more bang for your buck. If they're going to go to 92.9 to be on with Dukes and Bell or whatever, it's more impactful for everybody. So I don't want to get in the way of that. That needs to be the primary. But I think with the twos and I think with academy and academy coaches and stuff, we can try to do a little bit more in 1v1 settings. And we'll see what we can do. Let's see here. Okay, Abby, we'll figure stuff out. Abby's trying to do more deliveries. You're not going to South Carolina, Abby. Not letting you go to South Carolina. We'll figure this out.
Oh, that's great.
Atlanta Phoenix is yelling at you about guessing on trivia. Just do it. It'll be okay. Pacine says, will we get a flap-collared striped jersey this year? Pacine is already trying to cram money under the team store front door to get a flap-collared striped jersey. I like collared jerseys. I do too. I think I'm on the rare side there. I think most people don't like the collar. I like the collar. I'm old school.
I do.
I like it.
I do too.
Modiflow wants a Henley collar, so I guess not a flap collar.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody's yelling at you about trivia.
Sure.
One Chris Berry confirms that it's Mario Brothers and not Mario Kart on the dead sound. Ricky, AEW probably has some good sounds. I have the one that has not ever triggered anything. And this is what probably Soccer for Good OG will be saying to John after trivia.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it.
Never trust a wrestler who wears a scarf.
But we're selling scarves, John.
I said never trust a wrestler who wears a scarf
when
he's cutting a promo.
All right. Well, we're selling scarves, so our people can't be trusted either.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying. Lots of hype about goals. Shooter McGavin has subscribed at Tier 1. Shooter.
Tier 1.
Thank you, Shooter. You're the man. Just for you, Shooter.
Does anyone know what's going on here?
Your favorite manager. Your favorite manager in the world. Abby is yelling in all caps in the Twitch pitch about hating Tampa Bay. Been hating on them for 30-plus years.
Yes. That's
Going
true.
back to the Fort Lauderdale Strikers days.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen Abby yell hate in the Twitch pitch ever.
She was just in all caps.
That's yelling. All caps is yelling.
She's doing it's all good.
Tesco says, will the younger players for the twos be able to go back to the Academy League now? They will. If you're age eligible for Academy, you can be a pro. You can be a guy who's not on a pro deal but has played with the twos. Yeah, they can all play Academy games age eligible now. That is for sure. Burned says, like the twos, had a good season, but to be honest, I did not see a top-level talent, somebody who would be a top-level MLS player amongst the group. It's fine. You're not going to have that every year. I would disagree that Wiley could be that. I mean, he's 15, so there's a lot of room to grow. And I do think Conway has that potential to be a top striker in MLS. I do. I've felt that way for a while. I still do. That hasn't changed. But we'll see. But you're right. You're not going to have that every year. You're going to have years where you develop squad players. You're going to have years where you don't have players that develop. I mean, that happens with any generation. That's where you go out and make the signings to supplement. But I think it's better than that. I'll push back on that a little bit, Burned. I think Conway and Wiley are the two who I think could be top guys going forward. Let's see. I think we're almost done. Soccer for Good. Not all caps yelling, but yelling, no! No collars. Uncle says, no! Ricky says, no more collars. Henley's cool from Soccer for Good. Okay. OG, Ricky says one button collar's okay. I don't know. I'm going to let y'all fight it out. I don't really care. The collar, no collar is fine with me. I like collars. I'm sorry. I like it. Ricky says MJF is a hack.
Oh, there you go.
Man, harsh. Soccer for Good OG says Wiley seems very mature. I would agree. Ricky with an interesting one, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I want to see a little bit more. I feel like Mejia could be something once he starts consistently with the twos. Yeah. I think Mejia on a professional development track will be interesting. He needs to get a little quicker. He needs to probably slim down just a little bit to get a little quicker. Probably needs to grow into his body a little bit as well. I mean, which is something that I think we take for granted a little bit when we talk about some of these twos players. Conway is one who just looks completely different than he did when he first came into the twos, let alone when he came into the academy.
No doubt.
What if we get a little bit of a growth spurt from Coleman Gannon? What if Wiley gets even more filled out? Mejia is one that still kind of has that like kid body at times, and if you can get him to that next level, he's got something special. I agree, Ricky. I don't know what it is yet. I can't say that he'll be a top MLS player yet, but he's got some characteristics that are special. I agree. I like David Mejia a lot. Okay, I think that wraps everything up. That is the rest of the Twitch pitch. Did not want to leave you guys out of an Overreaction Monday. It was a long one. We'll have soccer over there starting at 7 o'clock tonight, recapping everything from the window today in Europe and in South America. More follow-up on the Chris Smalling deal looking unlikely to happen when it was said that it was going to happen before. Good job, Ed Woodward. You're just killing it in this window. Go to the checkout line and see what else you see, and maybe go pick up somebody else randomly. Maybe you can go get Mario Balotelli because you just want a shiny object. Maybe you can go sign somebody else who's out of contract, and yay, it's exciting. And a bunch of people had a chance to sign it. It's Edinson Cavani, and they didn't. Wonder why. Let's see what happens. Good times. Ed Woodward, Manchester United. Good.
Ed, just go.
Gio Reyna's included in the Bundesliga Team of the Week. 3 assists. Sweet. That'll get you in. Good stuff from Gio. And Jadon Sancho has apologized for breaking the government guidelines. Although I was unaware upon arriving of the numbers attending, I take full responsibility for my actions. I will make sure moving forward that I learn from this. This is about the COVID-19 protocols where he was a plonker and others were plonkers as well. Yeah, good times. And one last one from Scotland. The Athletic UK understands that Rangers rejected a loan offer from a Serie A side for Alfredo Morelos over the weekend. See if anything happens with that. We'll see if Celtic does anything for Jarrett Smith to yell about. We'll see if Milan gets some deals done today. We will see what happens today with lots of stuff. Colonel is getting bumped all around by his country internet, and we are very sorry, Colonel. I can't control your country internet, but Spreaker dropped you, and you got put into the Saturday Power Hour show after a commercial here on Twitch.
Wow.
Bruh, I got nothing. Modiflow's on the Twitch says it's more reliable. I don't know why the others aren't reliable. I'm sorry. I wish I knew something better. I'm glad Twitch is reliable, and I've noticed that there's more of the live views and listens on Twitch than on Spreaker these days. But then the podcast goes out and it's archived and everything goes out fine. So if you're listening later, there's no questions with Spreaker either way. I wish I knew. That part's beyond me. I just send it out to them and then they have to get it out to you.
Yep.
Last one, Kefsey. Can we get a thank good Loch Ness for a glassy win before Marcelino plays so he's not unfairly weighted with save us expectations? I totally agree. Totally agree. That is a big help. And hopefully there's another win on Wednesday. Rest of the week, we've got soccer over there tonight, 7. We've got the show tomorrow morning. We've got the run-up tomorrow night. We've got the show Wednesday morning, and Mike Conti and Doug Robertson will join us there. We've got stoppage time on Wednesday on Facebook.com/929 The Game at noon. Because the Braves play at 2. Then we will have everything with Wednesday's game as normal on 929 The Game and radio.com app. And then we'll have an overreaction Thursday, and then we'll have a run-up on Friday because it's just chaos right now. Chaos. Thanks for bearing with the chaos. Thanks for ordering your Marcelino Moreno scarves. More will be headed out to you today. If you want to get one, there's 25 left. $25. Send us a message on Twitter, on email, soccerdownhere@gmail.com. Get one before they're gone. I think that's it. fntz.co/soccer down here. You want to get South American World Cup qualifiers. I think I'm going to get the Argentina pack because, I mean, are you surprised?
No.
And I will be drinking mate, or I think there's an afternoon game, so I might be drinking mate for that one. If it's an evening game, maybe the Fernet y Coke will be the Argentine drink of choice. But we'll have plenty to talk about on soccer over there, so I hope to see you guys at 7. Thanks for hanging out. Mucha plata, y'all.
Mucha plata, y'all.